Good morning. Welcome to Michigan Muckraker. My name is Michelle. Today is February 23rd of 2023, and over the last couple days I have been raking through the muck to try to discover this Gotion EV battery story coming out of Big Rapids, Michigan. It is a huge deal for the area, and unfortunately many people aren't aware of it at all, let alone the facts. And so I've been, again, raking through the muck, trying to figure out what's going on. And there's a lot. And it's very important for the locals to understand, because this is going to fundamentally change what Michiganders call up north. So before I get into these minutes from Big Rapids Township, the local government, I'd like to just give a little bit of context so you understand the people of the area and how big of a deal this is. So I'm going to jump over here. Sorry. To show you, obviously this is the state of Michigan. This is all West Michigan. And Detroit being the biggest city, Grand Rapids is the second largest city. So an hour north of Grand Rapids is where all this is going down, in a little town called Big Rapids, Michigan, which has 9,000 about people, and it's a small, quiet, quaint college town that is known for recreation. So really quick, show you a picture. This is the river that Gotion Electric Vehicle Battery Plant is going to be along. And as you can see, it's extremely popular for the area. Recreation is the name of the game. The people of the area absolutely love the river. They keep it clean. They maintain it very well. 90% of people will clean up after somebody else, the 10% that want to litter, because it's important to them. We're very environmentally friendly when it comes to up north. So, as I said, 9,000 people in Big Rapids, Michigan. The battery plant is supposed to bring in about 2,500 people just to work. So that's not including their families. So the potential for a doubling up of the population in this area is high if this goes through. And that is something that we need to consider for the area. And I'm not sure where the counties are, but this about is Mecosta County, and then you have Newaygo County, and then down here is Muskegon County, and all of this is affected because of the river. It goes down quite a ways. So now that you know a little bit about the area, we're going to jump in to the kicker of the story, and that is the people of the area had no idea about any of this until September of 2022. And it's all supposed to be done and gone through in March, by March 31st of 2023. So that means that the people, the locals, have less than 6 months to inform themselves of what's going on and how this will completely change the area and make it go from recreational to technological. And that's the main story here. Why was it sprung on us out of the blue? And why don't we have a lot of information? So again, I went in, I did a deep dive. I'm going to jump in now to the Big Rapids Township meeting minutes. I started with 2022 and went all the way back to September 6th. And I'm going to go through all these with you and just all the relevant information about Gotion. So, starting with the 9/6 of 2022. This is page 32, and I'll have all the links in the description so you can follow along. This is before the release to the public of the information. Actually, I'm sorry to jump around a little bit, but this came out September 27th of 2022. This is the first time that majority of the public was able to know that this was going on. Renaissance Zone was approved for future vehicle battery factory. September 27th of 2022. What battery factory are we talking about? Nobody knows. The Big Rapids Township and Green Township boards of trustees voted unanimously to approve the establishment of Renaissance Zone at the Big Rapids Airport Industrial Park in a joint meeting Monday night. So that was the 26th of September, Monday night. They got together, and I will go over they have pretty good notes for the Big Rapids Township, but the Green Township, there's none. And so that's another thing you need to understand. The Green Township is very, very small local government. The website is very behind, and there are no details about any of this on their website. So this is being sprung on small local governments, very small local governments. All right, so this is the supervisor's report from August 2022. And I thought that I'd quickly mention this because it's going to be relevant for later on. So go down here. This month, I attended the County City Ferris meeting as well as the Township meeting. Jerry and I attended a board band meeting in Newaygo. It was informative, but nothing really new. Great Lakes Energy continues to be working in our township. This month, I attended our Planning Commission meeting as well as the Fire Committee meeting. I also had the privilege to represent the township at a reception for Dr. Bill Pink and his wife. I have taken off some extra time. Okay, so I just wanted that to be said. This, again, was August. And Dr. Bill Pink is going to be an important piece of this puzzle for Gotion coming to Big Rapids. So, August, nothing was known yet by the board. Well, at least by the majority of the board. Bill here, we will find out, has known about this for quite some time. And that is a local scandal. So, getting into the meeting, Monday, September 26th of 2022. And we have William Routley, Mecosta County Board Chair, called the joint special meeting to order at 7 p.m. All those present stood and recited the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag. Members represented on roll call, Mecosta County. I'm not going to name all the names. You can read them. There's Greenship Charter Township roll call, Big Rapids Charter Township. And this is where it gets really interesting. We have W. Routley advised the reason for this joint special meeting is to approve a Michigan Renaissance Zone application for Gotion Inc. by Green Charter Township, Big Rapids Charter Township, and Mecosta County. You have Randy Thelen, President, CEO of The Right Place, and Kelly Wawazik, I'm sorry if I butchered that, Executive Director of Mecosta County Development Corporation, The Right Place. Sorry, just double checking, making sure everything's going through. The Right Place were introduced and presented on the process to get where we are today with a Renaissance Zone application and additional incentives that could come with the approval. Gotion Inc. representatives Chuck Thelen, VP Operations, and Aaron Haley, Director of Project Management, presented on what Gotion Inc. is and what they plan to bring to Mecosta County. So first thing I wanted to say that Randy Thelen and Chuck Thelen. I failed to find any information on whether or not they are related, but they're both out of Michigan, and I find it very odd that the president, the CEO of The Right Place, which I guess you might want to know exactly what The Right Place is. And I had it. So The Right Place is out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Let's see. And we'll go to About Us. Serving West Michigan since 1985, The Right Place is a regional economic development organization funded through the investments from the private and public sectors. The Right Place drives regional economic development initiatives to stimulate economic growth. Okay. And I'm sorry. I'm all over the place, but this is page 5 of the October 4th, 2022 packet. So if you want to follow along, that's where we're at. And so Randy Thelen, Chuck Thelen, very weird. Don't know what's going on there. We have public comment. President Bill Pink from Ferris State University spoke in favor of approving the Renaissance Zone application. This is an incredible opportunity. Many communities would love to be able to have this meeting you are having right now. To bring in a partner to this community, congratulations. Serves as a board member on The Right Place and MEDC. That's really important. Ferris State University stands poised and ready to assist the community and partners coming to the table. This is something for our students, the Bulldogs. What it will do for us as a university to get people into great paying jobs. The perspective of FSU is paramount to helping students and helping the community. Thank you and congratulations on this opportunity. So that's why I brought up in August where Bill, who is on the board of the Big Rapids Township, went and spoke for President Bill Pink and his wife. So they knew each other before this. I'm sure, well, I do know that he knew Bill from the Big Rapids Township. He knew that this was going to go through, and yet the rest of the board seems to not have. That is really weird and really important. All right, so who else do we have at this meeting? We have Julie Burrell, Oceana County resident and Economic Development Director for Newaygo County, The Right Place, spoke regarding how this could also impact neighboring counties such as Newaygo, is very supportive of this investment. You'll notice they're all very supportive. Colleen Rose, City of Big Rapids resident and business owner, has never been as excited as today, is very supportive of this venture, feels we are ready as a community to embrace this opportunity. This is a once in a several decade opportunity. Dave Hamland, Big Rapids Township resident and business owner, thanked the boards to speak about this exciting prospect coming to our community. This is a big win for Mecosta County, urges the boards to vote in favor of Renaissance Zone. Dave B., Director of West Michigan Regional Planning Commission for 23 years. Planning is what this is all about tonight. Leadership saw the importance of this opportunity and stuck with it. Embrace success and past leaders for making this opportunity happen. Nora Balgolian, representing ITC Transmission, Michigan Electric Transmission Company. Moving power is ITC's sole focus, promotes understanding of the grid, understands the magnitude of this economic opportunity. ITC is excited to be a key partner and proud to support this project. Jeff Mays, Executive Director for Consumers Energy Business Customer Care, has been working on energy solutions to serve this project. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Big Rapids, Mecosta County. Will work with colleagues at ITC and is confident in the infrastructure to support this project. Upgrades will improve reliability in the area. Consumers is working to protect the planet with clean energy sources. Thank you to Township County leaders for leadership and considering this proposal. This is an example of how to move Michigan forward. Consumers asks for support to move this project forward. So that's Consumers Energy, which is the electric company for the west side. Mark Klump, resident and township supervisor of Morton Township. This opportunity is a game changer. Please support this. Joe McNally, broker owner of Remax Big Rapids. This is next level exciting. Groundwork was laid for this project 20 years ago. Thankful for those people. Big advocate for this project and wants to see engagement in the community, partnership with local leaders if this comes to fruition. Tracy Ruel, That's probably more accurate. Mecosta Township resident. This is a great opportunity for our area. Thank you to Big Rapids Township for the past work. The property was built for this. This is the opportunity to say yes and make it happen. Suzanne Cox, DLZ Energy and Architects, 9 offices in Michigan, 4 in West Michigan, has been involved with other battery projects in small communities, will be honored to be involved in this project. The benefits to these communities have been enormous. Kevin Cushway, Green Township resident, has property in Green Township and is in favor of the project. Shelley Keene, Executive Director of Michigan Works Executive Director of Michigan Works West Central and resident of Hinton Township, has been a part of this conversation since the early stages. Skilled workforce is a priority. Goal is to assist qualified job seekers to provide meaningful employment. Production level jobs will help put people in top tier. Prepare to work with Gotion to work through the hiring process. More than 2,300 positions will be needed for over 10 years. More than 2,300 positions will be needed over 10 years. So by the time the 10 years is up, supposedly Gotion will offer 2,300 positions to locals. That's what they're saying. This will increase the number of competitive jobs in the area. Team is ready to set up and assist to make this project possible. Michigan Works West Central supports this Renaissance Zone application. Tyler Hunty, CEO of Hunty's Clubhouse Child Care Provider. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to grow Mecosta County. Could be a 10% increase in population to our community. It will be a benefit to small business, churches, families in this community, and will strengthen our economy. Requesting to take seriously the safety of the people in this community with regard to environmental impacts of this factory. So far, the only one that is for Gotion that actually gives a word of warning. Because if you don't know, an electric vehicle battery has tons of chemicals inside of it. And I'm going to get more into that later, so let's just keep going. Dave Eisler, former president of Ferris State University. This is an exercise in democracy, seeing all elected officials working together. Has lived in Big Rapids Township for 20 years. Finally have an opportunity to make a positive, critical difference. This is big. Once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Proud to be a part of this. Paul Griffith, Colfax Township resident and former executive director of Michigan Works, has worked on many new projects over the years, none as large as this one. This company likely to get workforce around 40-mile radius. Mecosta County and surrounding area counties. Average annual wage will be $61,000. Tonight's vote and others in the following months will be the most important vote ever made as an elected official in favor of this application. And Connie Kopek, resident of Stanwood and director of Mecosta County Visitors Bureau. It's an understatement to say this company will fill our hotels and generate new money into our community that we so desperately need. Overall positive for everyone. W. Routley, closed public comment. The township and county boards present questions to Gotion Inc. and the right place. Green Charter Township Resolution. Supervisor of Green Charter Township Board explained the need to vote on a motion allowing a trustee to abstain from voting on the resolution due to a property sale with Gotion. J. Peak moved for unanimous consent for Mr. Jerenstat to abstain from voting. Resolution to consent to establishment of Renaissance Zone within the township. 5 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstain. Motion carried. So there you have it. There were the key players in the meeting that, as far as I'm aware, no local resident, obviously, I'm sorry. The public didn't know about this. Certain people did, obviously. These people, whoever these people are, they all knew about it. And one of them even said they've known about it since the deal was in its infancy. At this time, I know that they've been talking about this since June of 2021, but this wasn't known at this meeting, and this is brand new information that I'm going to get to. But the fact that certain people knew, and not the public, that this is going to affect the most, for 15 months before everybody else. And even some of the Big Rapids Township board, most of them didn't know that these are problems that I've discovered. So I have a bunch of notes because I don't want to waste any time. I just want to get to the information that's necessary. So let's see, we're at page 8. We need to get to page 38. All right, 38, Supervisor's Report. September has gone by fast. We have a lot of different things going on at the same time. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for supporting the establishment of the Renaissance Zone. This is one of the most important decisions we will make as a board. Now that we are in the game, we need to make sure that we carefully take the next steps in the process. We need to look at this as what is best for the people of our township and then go beyond and make sure we are doing what is best for the community. This project is a lot bigger than the township, city, or even the county. We have a huge responsibility that will affect everyone. Now that there are some positive possibilities, we are going to have a lot of people wanting to get involved with us. We need to be very careful as we look at requests. When the industrial park was started, the city and the county were involved. They each decided that the risk was too high, so Big Rapids Charter Township bought the land from the IDC and then pursued a grant from the EDA to establish the park. The township took out a loan to buy the property and then it bonded for the match for the grant. There was still over $1 million owed on the park when Maxine McClelland left as supervisor. As a township, we have paid off all the debt without the help of the city or county. We might look at how we can engage the communities around us after the project is underway. One thing might be to look into developing a fire authority. We would need to look into authorities and see if this would be a fit for our community. As big as this project is, there will be plenty of opportunities for the township and cities around us to receive the benefits. The big event for the township, as always, was the fall cleanup. Okay, that doesn't matter so much. This month I had a lot of meetings, including many learning about the industrial park project and talking to others about it. I also attended a couple city commission meetings, the county city Ferris meeting and the MCDC meeting, and our planning commission meeting. One other meeting I attended was a shareholder meeting that Consumers Power put on concerning Rogers Dam. This is really important for the area too. Consumers Power has 13 dams in Michigan, and their licenses to operate expire in 11 years. It is starting to look at whether permits should be renewed, one or more of the dams be sold or the dams recommissioned, which would turn the river back to its original flow. Returning the river to its original flow would be devastating to the people that live around the pond, and even people upstream in Big Rapids Township. Hydropower is very expensive. Dams require a lot of upkeep. Consumers Power will have additional meetings over the next few years to keep us informed. Thank you for the opportunity to serve, Bill. A couple things here. Hydropower is very expensive. Why don't we invest in making hydropower cheap, since Michigan is surrounded by water and there's rivers and lakes throughout the entire state? There should be plenty of hydropower available, and we should be able to upgrade it, right? Why are we going for solar and wind that takes up land space when we could use the water to create electricity? First. Second, when he's talking about the pond, he means Hardy Dam Pond, which is below Rogers Dam, and the entire area is huge it's a huge recreational area with tons of parks all along the river. It's one of the only rivers that you can park alongside on the bank and hang out because it's all owned by Consumers Energy. So the river right now is amazing, and everybody loves to go there and hang out and swim and go tubing behind the boat and all kinds of stuff. So without that dam and with the water at its original flow, the people that live on the Hardy Dam Pond are gonna lose the river, and that would be absolutely terrible. Sorry, that's kind of a side note, but the fact that this Gotion is on the river above the Rogers Dam is important for everyone in Newaygo County as well, because that river flows through Newaygo County into the Hardy Dam Pond. I'm sorry, I should actually... This is what they're talking about. So, all the way up here, this river, people go tubing just on a tube and float down the river and party and have a good time. This area right here is where Gotion would be located on this river. But this river connects and goes all the way down here, and Rogers Dam is right here. So this is where Rogers Dam is. And so if they had the flow back to the original state of the river and got rid of this dam, all of this area would be back to a very small river. It would not be this huge, they call it Hardy Dam Pond, but it's a very, very wide river. And this is Hardy Dam right here. And then it continues on to Croton. So if anything were to happen to the water source up here, everybody all the way down will be affected. So that is an extremely important point. It's not just positive effects. We must consider the negative effects. But the people that push this renaissance through, they obviously can only see dollar signs. And they've known about it a lot longer than we have, and so that's another thing to consider. All right, so the next piece, sorry guys, the next piece here is page 48. Sorry, page 48. I thought this was interesting just to give you an update on this. It says July of 2022 motion, Public Information Officer. I don't know who put that motion in, but I bet you it was Bill, because I'm pretty sure he was the only one that knew on the Big Rapids Township Board. The supervisor or the designees shall be the Public Information Officer for the township. The Public Information Officer shall be responsible for supervising the content disseminated, I think, approved by the Township Board through the Township newsletter, website, public service announcement, and press releases on Township government events, and responding to inquiries from the media or referring contact to other appropriate Township officials. The Public Information Officer or their designees shall review the content materials for potential violations for the Campaign Finance Act, political preference or support, promotion of private interests, misrepresentation of Township Board actions or policy, statements that could expose the Township to legal liability. And they have this star. The Public Information Officer shall advise Township Board members and other appropriate staff of all press releases and other media contacts at the time of release. And down here, unable to find a policy disallowing Township elected officials from contacting Township attorney. So I don't know if this piece fits at all into anything, but I thought it was interesting and it could be important down the road. So I think that in this, that might be it. Yes. All right. So now we're going to go to the next board packet, which is 12/6/2022. This December 6th right here. And the first page is on, it's 2A. So here we are. And it says this is a meeting on November 1st, 7 p.m., unapproved. Correspondence, Bruce Bowling letter, opposition to Gotion. Let's see. There was a couple things in here. New business. Four and five. Sorry, guys. I have these notes, and for some reason, it's in the board packet. This one. There we go. Sorry about that. We're going to the board packet, actually, of 11/1/2022. That's why my notes were pushing me there. So, page 2. To the Township Board. This is October 7th of 2022. So, a couple weeks, or not even a week and a couple days after they voted for the Renaissance Zone. To the Township Board, I have just read the article, A Dream Coming True, in the Big Rapids Township Fall 2022 newsletter, which, by the way, I have not been able to find, so I'm going to continue to try to find that. I'd love to read that to you guys. If you know where I can find it, please put a link down in the description and I'll go over it. Okay, I have just read the article A Dream Coming True in Big Rapids Township Fall 2022 newsletter and have pretty much learned about the true owners of Gotion Inc. plant. Reading behind all the reasoning and rationale, this is a China-owned company, at least 70%. I admit it was interesting to read about the possible development of the 120-acre tract until I got to this point in the article. Funny, but not funny, I have been reading about the Communist China's, PRC, attempt to gain a foothold strategically in this country, our great country, by lately buying up land. I believe it was Florida, and maybe some other states, that are in the process of legislating laws to ban the PRC, People's Republic of China, from buying American land, a country that is at a cold war with the U.S., subtly and craftily, that is learning how to bribe, seduce, spy, and subterfuge us. It is a country that flagrantly violates human rights. For all the talk, especially in college towns, of human rights, equity, equality, justice, etc. He says social with a question mark. Yes, I suppose it is great that a company wants to plant here and develop and be of some help to this area. But a good company, a company that has America's best interests at heart. Yet any company that has strings to China is in back of it all controlled by China. China does not have a free market like we have a free market. China controls everything in its country to make sure they ultimately are in line with its communists, expansionists' rigid goals. It almost seems to me that the one who wrote the paragraph on page 2 of the newsletter that starts with the word "so" knows the fears that would arise and then attempt to talk around all this and justify a local expediency. Funny, it didn't mention who owns the other 70%. Why? But maybe, I'm sorry here, I'm just thinking out loud on my feelings of how many in positions of leadership and those who have a say operate today. Short-term expediency, sorry guys, short-term expediency, in this case, local expediency. This may not necessarily be those on the township's board, but many in the federal and state level of government want to cozy up to China, a brutal dictatorship who wants to leverage our gullibility to their advantage, and they are doing it. Why don't we think in terms of 100 years from now and what would happen when China owns more and more land? I support victims of communism, the Voice of the Martyrs, and other such great nonprofit organizations. They write of the forced labor, religious persecution, and other atrocities, human rights abuses by the Chinese government. They give many testimonials and first-hand witnesses, which no doubt most of you know very well about. I'm a Christian too, but sadly many will use Christianity as well for expediency in our country. While Christians suffering for their faith in, say, China know Christianity in a different way. Their faith is not used to put the proverbial frosting on a rotten cake. Many use Christianity to make something look right, when it's not right. I could start with Miss Pelosi. Please do not paint a good picture when my brothers and sisters in Christ are suffering for their faith in China, and at the same hands of those who are behind it all strategically for this China-owned company, China. The company itself, I guess it is possible, may be naively blind to all this and have, to the extent they will allow their hearts to show them the truth, good intentions, but then not. And then maybe it will be the same with you. Yet we must know about we must know what China owns, China controls. Make no mistake. When we look at the world's events and what is taking place today and what we've been thrust through, those who wish to remove national identity, religious identity, gender identity, so-called world elites, the pandering to China while sweeping all their human rights abuses under the rug, while at the same time harassing us and conservatives of violating rights, one has to wonder what our local community will be like in 100 years. 100 years ago, those who ran our township, if it existed then, but if not, we still had our Americanism and what was best for Americans, did what was best for the future of our community. Maybe they did not have to deal with the sellout from a foreign country, basically controlled by a foreign country, so maybe it was easier for them then. But I am sure they did what was ultimately best for America, and America for them was here in Big Rapids Charter Township. I'm so thankful our founding fathers, which most colleges despise today, hence part of the sellout problem, looked way ahead to the future of this country and put in safeguards that would go a long way to deter tyranny and attempts such as we see today. But even they, in their wisdom, could not ultimately control human nature and the continual pecking away that we see today. Part of this is a moot point on my part because look where we are today, as you all know. May we never forget that China, PRC, has long-range strategic goals and, as I said, is attempting to gain a foothold in our country. They are doing these strategically. They are buying land. They know they cannot take us over militarily, so they will do as they have been doing for many years now. We know how they have been influencing members of Congress and people in government. Remember, the California congressman who was being seduced by a Chinese woman, a spy, whining and dining and all, it's well known. He should have been reprimanded and held in contempt of Congress. China is bribing. China wants to buy lands. China is trying to suck the lifeblood out of us. And where are we? We have short-range goals. It is expedient for us now. The very article shows that. If truth be known, China owns all the company based out of China, etc. China is not putting an assembly plant here per se, the article says, but they will never pass up an opportunity to purchase land when we pander to them. And these so-called research firms don't care who they are. When we sell out and have no standards, those who are not really friendly to Americanism, will gladly oblige. What are we doing? What about the future? We are selling out left and right. We are spending money we don't have. The article basically says we got a credit card from the government with a $509,000 credit limit. There's no money. Where are we going? Are we being wise? China will be basically buying America land right next door to me, albeit through fronts. If I can be so harsh to say, but it's basically good to say it as it is. Whoa, slow down with our dream. Who else's dream is coming true while they have us mesmerized? China's. Yes, communists have dreams too. It's happening, now close to home. It's all about strategy. No sell to China, never. Bruce Bowling, Big Rapids, Michigan. That was from a local, obviously, and it is a concern, and we'll keep going. After I do all these meeting minutes, I do have a few articles on to back up, to support everything that we're going to go through here. So, page 5, and under new business, 4 and 5, it says industrial park storage. Real quick, this is October 4th. So again, shortly after the September 26th meeting where they brought in the Renaissance Zone. Industrial park storage building. A motion was made to have Sue Bean contact the resident of the property on Madison Avenue to inquire about industrial park storage building. Okay. Let's see. 5, policy, public information officer, attorney relations. A motion was made to appoint Curry and Everett as township board representatives to attend any and all upcoming meetings and communication with the Right Place, Gotion, and MCDC. So Curry and Everett are the two that are supposed to be talking to the Right Place, who seems to be representing Gotion. Let's see. Page 7. And right here, addition section. This was from October 25th, so almost a month later from the last one. Update from the Right Place. Curry noted she received a text from R. Thelen regarding a text update on a timeline that they are working on with Gotion, along with a mention of Public Act 198. Public Act 198. Failure to pay tax applicable to personal property. Okay. So about taxes. Let's see. Page 29 is the next section that discusses Gotion. Right here. So this was Monday, October 10th. So it jumps around a little bit within this packet. It would have been nice if they would have done it chronologically, but I'm not going to complain because, again, this is the only local government that have meeting minutes worth a damn. No offense, but yeah, local governments are really small, I get that, but they don't have their website worked out, and they certainly don't have as detailed meeting minutes as Big Rapids Township. So I am thankful for what I have found. Page 29, and new items 1 and 2. Industrial Park Fire Department plans. Proactive on Gotion pilot. Tubbs to contact Holland FD to see what their concerns may be, what they wish they would have known or planned for. Tubbs to email cost recovery ordinance sample and work on possible development for our ordinance. Bean to help with gap analysis. Okay. And 5. No. Oh yeah, I did put that. You get multiple quotes for furnace replacement for November board meeting. I thought it was kind of funny. These governments are so local and small. Usually things don't happen so big, but they knew in November, December, January, there's going to be tons of people asking questions, wanting to understand exactly what this deal is all about. And again, the local residents only have 6 months to figure everything out and try to stop it from going through, because they were finalizing the process when they informed the public. I myself didn't understand what was going on until I think October 5th, when Governor Whitmer actually dropped a press release, because I at the time was very focused on not so local of government, but on our elections, our governor elections that were going on. So that's how I found out about this. So most people are just trying to wrap their head around it. And again, we're all very small town feels, okay? Very rustic with a hint of hipster in the downtown Big Rapids area. And so we want to make sure this is right. I don't think 6 months is enough time. I don't feel like they were very fair by springing it upon us. But I digress. Page 32. Supervisor's report. Back to Bill. This is October. Another month has gone by. It doesn't feel like I got much done, but as I look at this month, it has only been 4 weeks since our October meeting, and we had a special meeting in between. The other reason it went so fast is that I took nearly a week off. Okay. Spent a lot of time on the budget. First was to get it up to date for the board meeting, and then afterwards to make the changes recommended by the board. I do have it ready to be looked over, so we can schedule a public hearing on it. Thank you all for your input. I feel very comfortable with what we have come up with for next year. If Gotion moves forward in the township, we will need to make adjustments when we know what we will need to do. As soon as we have some more information from Gotion, I would like to schedule a special meeting where we can share facts with the community. We need to do it as soon as possible, but I would like to have more facts on what their needs will be and how it'll affect us and our township. The last thing we want to do is share bad information. Thank you to those of you that attended and helped with the cookies from the MTA local county meeting. This was an average turnout from the townships, but we were down on the number of county officials. Usually we have at least 3 or 4 officials. Other meetings I attended this month included the City Green Township, Big Rapids Township meeting, one City Commission meeting, and the City County Ferris meeting. I also attended our Fire Committee and Planning Commission meetings. I appreciated the information at the Planning Commission on the possibility of some grants and working with Progressive AE on the Recreation Master Plan. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Bill. Old Bill. Let's see, item O. Assessing Services Proposal. So this is all about hiring David Kerwin to be the assessor from November 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023. That is where I got the date that they want this to be finished, and they want to start breaking ground, I believe, in June. So it's right around the corner now, as this is February. We have to make an informed decision for the area. November 1st, let's see, 2 and 3. This is all the specifications of the proposal, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You can if you'd like, but I just wanted to know a couple things. First, number 2, public relations. Advice shall be given to the township in the development of a public relations program that may be carried out by the staff of the township under the direction of the supervisor. So the supervisor is Bill, that we get all these supervisor reports from, and he is from the Big Rapids Township board. Let's see. March 2, 3, 16, 21. 3. Personnel. Assessor shall be professional in manner, appearance, and shall be trained in appraisal techniques. Not all staff working on this project will be Michigan certified assessors, but all work will be reviewed by certified staff. The township shall provide a letter of introduction or identification indicating that assessor in and authorized representatives for the township in the performance of the terms of agreement. 21, 24. 16. Board of Review. The assessor shall also work with and attend the July and December 2022 and 2023 Board of Reviews. The assessor will be available to meet with the Board of Review for the March 2023 organizational meeting, along with any reconciled decision-making meetings. The assessor, or an agreed-upon person, shall be available for at least 2 regular meetings of the March Board of Review. Staff of the township shall assist assessor with the setup and organization of the Board of Reviews. So it looks like there's going to be 2 regular meetings, the March board. And lastly, number 24, responsibility of the township. The township shall provide the following to the assessor in the performance of the project: up-to-date tax maps, monthly reimbursement of mileage expenses, postage envelopes, printing of assessment notices, assessment rolls, tax rolls. Make available the current property record cards on file for all real and personal property, assessment software BS&A, Apex sketching software, Pivot Point mobile assessment. And then this right here, $34,000 paid once per month at the rate of $2,895. And it said $20 a month. Although, I don't know, $20 a month. I'm sorry, $20 an hour. Number 24. Well, in this document, it shows that it's supposed to be $20 an hour that he's paid. And so, at the rate of $2,895, he's supposed to work 36 hours a week. In case anyone was wondering, I did the math. I asked the question myself, so I thought I'd answer it. 36 hours a week in order to deserve this $2,895 a month. All right, that's it for this packet. Now we can get to the packet from December 6th of 2022. Starting with page 2, new business. 1, 8, 9, 10. 1. Request to hire David Kerwin as a part-time employee to do assessing. A motion was made to approve the contract in the proposal dated 11/1 and the compensation to be in line with item 24 as listed. So everything went through on that. 8. Board set meeting for 11/21 at the Township offices regarding a discussion over the industrial park Gotion. Closed session with attorney Stanek, which this is Bill's last name, Bill Stanek, to invite attorney to 12/6 meeting for discussion in a closed session if needed. So getting the lawyers involved and doing closed sessions. 8, 9, 10. 10. Discussion with Stanek on lack of correspondence, updated information on MCDC updates. Stanek commits to taking notes and sharing updates with board at weekly MCDC meetings. So here we got a first hint of perhaps the rest of the board asking why aren't we getting the information that we need? This is kind of unrelated, but I wanted to put this in. Delinquent sewer bills. A motion was made by Bean to approve of adding the delinquent sewer bill to winter taxes. I thought that was strange. So if your sewer bill is behind $200, you add it to the property tax, and then you can't pay your property tax and your house gets taken away over your sewer bill. Sorry about the side note, but I thought that was a little strange. I'm not sure about that. Public comment exception, November 1st. Right here, public comment. Thank you for welcoming this gentleman to the board. Wish to have been able to do more, but a busy time in his life. Enjoyed the time spent and hopes to continue on the Roads and Parks committees. Has seen the board grow in the time he's spent and hopes to continue demanding more information regarding Project Elephant. Project Elephant is this Gotion EV battery plant project. Because the lack of communication is unacceptable. Wished Nick Routley luck as well as he will take his seat as trustee. So again, lack of communication. It's not that obvious yet, but you're starting to see that some people know information and others do not, and that is a problem when you're talking about something as huge as this Project Elephant. Page 5. November 1st, 7 p.m., unapproved meeting. All right. The purpose of this special meeting is to meet with the residents of Big Rapids Township regarding their comments, questions, and concerns regarding the sale of the industrial park to Gotion. A motion was made by Curry. Get this out of here. To ask the board to agree to the purpose of the special meeting, questions, comments, and concerns. The Township Board would like to take this opportunity to compile questions, comments, and concerns by first allowing Big Rapids Township residents the opportunity to freely voice their questions, comments, and concerns to the Township Board regarding anything associated with Project Elephant, including the sale of Township property. In the near future, the Township Board will be asked to consider selling 115.33 acres of the industrial park and water plant to Gotion. Please state your name and whether or not you are a Big Rapids resident, Big Rapids Township resident. Limit your questions, comments, and concerns to 3 minutes. Yeah, this is November 21st, so a month, almost 2 months, actually, right? September, October, November, almost 2 months since the public has found out about this Project Elephant. All questions, comments, and concerns will be noted by the Township Board. We understand that the majority of the questions, comments, and concerns will be regarding wastewater, air quality, roads, housing, and impact on local businesses. I do not believe we have solid answers to these questions yet. However, we will make every attempt to get you the answers, and therefore additional meetings will be scheduled. Second, to allow all others the same opportunity to freely voice their questions, comments, and concerns, at this time the board would like to ask the chairperson to conduct the meeting in this fashion. Just double checking the stream. Okay. All right, Eric Everett, strategic development, expansion, resources, environmental impact. Time between now and whenever that may be addressed, voted on. Does it bother us that it's a Chinese company? Lenny, I'm not going to butcher your last name. Water impact, lifeline of battery, how exposed of, recycled, etc. Need to concern ourselves with downfall of battery. So this person obviously did a little bit of research and understands that batteries are supposed to last 10 years, but really they only last 6 to 8, and we have no idea how to dispose of them. That is a concern. A lot of the concern around this area is going to be our water. Because Michiganders, we have some PTSD on our water sources. Flint, Michigan, still to this day, does not have clean water. They're still using bottled water. It's a big problem. Once the water is poisoned, nothing happens to bring it back right. Do we want to risk that? That is the biggest question for me and for a lot of the local residents. Because again, we love our river. That is the heart and soul of Big Rapids, is the Muskegon River. Seth Madison, what materials are used? I believe we'll find out going through all these packets. That's the main thing today, but if not, I'll do a quick refresher on what materials are used. Kate runs animal shelter, very concerned about environmental impact, water disposal, wildlife. Joe, transparency, why lack of it with taxpayer funds involved, and going forward will be more transparent. These notes are a little choppy, but from what I get, why weren't the taxpayers told, especially since it's using taxpayer funds? Why was it all secrecy until it was almost finalized? Patty Downey, this individual is going to be spoken of often. She is very well aware of what's going on and has very good points, so good on you, Patty, for being informed. Requests board to use common sense and not make bad decisions, even though the area is desperate for jobs, and remember Hayworth, not desperate to make bad decisions. Ormond, energy usage, government shutting down electrical use, concerns of the company to come and take off, concerned about communist Chinese-owned company. Again, energy usage, government shutting down electrical use. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm assuming that we're talking about rolling blackouts. Hasn't been said in a little while, but DTE just bumped up their prices because their electricity is, a supply and demand, basically. The demand is the same or higher, and the supply is lowering. So how is the electricity grid going to handle a huge energy investment like an electric vehicle battery company, a battery plant rather? These are all things that, yes, I'm so glad that people of the area are asking. I wish that I would have been more involved and known more about this whole situation earlier, but wish on one hand, and, well, I'm not going to go any further. Next up, we have Sean, bored, not knowing anything. So there you have it. Again, I haven't been to any of the meetings, so everything that I know I have found through combing through these board packets. And the fact that the board doesn't know anything, and it's November, the end of November, so 2 months later, and they still don't know anything, and the fact that they didn't know anything, even though this has been going on since June of 2021, very sus. Very sus. They're trying to sneak it in, man, as quick as possible. Pat Curry, living in fear, not knowing answers, Dean's food reference. I don't know what that means. Jeff, environmental side, urges the board to consider outside third-party source and pass along the cost to Gotion. Noted footprint rendering substantial in comparison to California location of storage for Gotion. So good on Jeff, and maybe I should do that too. Go down the rabbit hole of Gotion plant in California and see exactly how much energy they're using and what their footprint is. Kevin, why don't we have answers? Gene, Chinese company, not good for Big Rapids. Tracy, another battery plant, track record, research and development, noise and light pollution. Smalley, wanted to know board's questions. General consensus on voting no until answers are given. John Holsworth, May flood reference and the water plant. We should not sell that. Robots manufacturing and less actual jobs. Yes, John is aware of a different aspect, and that is by the time 2032 rolls around, when all these jobs, these 2,100 jobs are supposed to be available, or supposed to be in place rather, automation is going to be taking over in the next 10 years, 9 years really, 7 years really, for 2030. So good on you. That is something to be concerned about. Are these jobs actually going to exist by the time this plant is done? My bet is no. No. It's going to be automated, baby. Michelle Graham only voted on Renaissance Zone so far. Michelle Graham voted on Renaissance. Let's see. Michelle Graham, anywhere in here? No. Oh, there. Mecosta County Township, Mecosta County Development Corporation member. Believes approval of the application will be good for Mecosta County. This Mecosta County Development Corporation, I want you to remember that. You know, I want you to remember that. Going back. Rod Madison, China, #1 threat. Mary, prepared for the growth of the area. Very good question. Again, somebody said in the last packet that 10% increase, but if there's about 9,000 people in Big Rapids, then 2,000 people plus their families would be well over a 10% increase, at least a 50% increase, if not doubling our population. That is a big deal. And again, in the next 9 years. Very, very quick. Joe, liaison supports clarity and wants answers. Half Chinese, 2 Pan? Concerns about communist China buying land. Why not lease? Will we demand insurance policy? So, they must have claimed themselves to be half Chinese, because I don't think the board would just put that down. And they're out of Canadian Lake, so concerns, it's a half Chinese person is concerned about communist China, because if you know anything about communist China, you should be concerned. Dealing with Economic Development Corporation, when they fail, what happens? Does the land come back? The community seems way too eager with regards to negotiation. FBI director recently out of coma investigating Chinese police stations. I don't know if that's all from this individual, or maybe these are just people that wanted to remain anonymous, but those points are to be asked. When they fail, what happens? Joe, any more costs? Will we be reimbursed for the money we spend towards building development planning process? What $50 million will cover legal fees, permits, and costs? Bruce, public vote, bad idea. Bus metaphor. I don't know what that means. I don't know why a public vote is a bad idea. I don't know where Bruce stands at all. Paul, paid attention when Chuck Thelen spoke. We won't know answers until blueprint's done. Rod Magnuson, Rod. Why are there meetings that elected officials are not allowed to attend? I don't know about that. I'm wondering, I wish there was clarification. But that person seems to know something I don't. Carlene, how often do we talk to them? Why not utilize them? Don't know what that means. MCDC reps. They should be telling us. Food availability, electricity availability. Cannot afford electric cars. Tom says clear state rep soon. Once deals in place, no authority with EGLE. Ladiana, so far from auto industry, how much transporting, wear tear on the roads? Another good question. So bringing all these chemicals in, big trucks and such, what kind of wear and tear will be on our already terrible roads? Randy Thelen from the right place on questions, no answers. Stated company did third party study and Gotion is Chinese owned but not Chinese government owned. There's no such thing. So that makes me a little bit sus, on top of being possibly related to Chuck Thelen, who is Gotion's negotiator. So they're on Gotion's side. And then Randy says that it's not owned by the government of China, but the CEO is, for a fact, part of the Communist China Party. So that is a misrepresentation, we'll say. State of Michigan approved them for grant with long study involving FBI and deemed them safe. Well, yeah, do you trust the FBI? Yeah, me too. Water. No final numbers, no issues found. Contamination. Financially, the right place gains nothing. In quotes. Gains nothing. Why would you do it then if you gain nothing? Give me a break. Who is expected to believe that? Requests reimbursement for legal engineering costs through grant. Curry asks what happened to interest from grant. Randy stated he believes they cannot gain interest on grant money. FSU President Pink spoke on his belief in company, believes Chuck wouldn't want something bad here because he lives here. Serves on MCDC board, came to Ferris 4 months ago when everything became discussion of topic for MCDC. So what they're saying here is that President Bill Pink has a conflict of interest. He was recently put on the board just last year I'm going to just go right to the article. October 19th, 2022 was his first 100 days. So last year, this gentleman was put into place as the president of Ferris State University. That's interesting because the individuals, Sorry, I have the right place. Board of directors. Boom. He's also on the board of directors for the right place. He is the president of Ferris State University and he is the vice chair, but he is set to take over this company. Yes. Getting back to this, it's important. I have several articles, but there is a lot of information about the meeting minutes, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to just keep on track of that, and we can get into more about who these people are and why we should be concerned. Let's see, serves on the board. Yep. Why not lease land? Majority of companies owned by Japan do in Ohio. Restrict stock of Chinese. Set performance milestones. Unanswered questions remain. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. I have to do a bathroom break. Well, first. Sorry about that. Okay, unanswered questions. What impact on labor force for current local manufacturers? What are Gotion's plans to indemnify Green Charter Township, Big Rapids Charter Township, Mecosta County, and the state of Michigan in the event of a major environmental issue? What are the milestones that must be met regarding the project? Why is Gotion so hesitant to disclose its affiliation with the Chinese, specifically the VW China ownership structure? Is the CEO of China, Mr. Li, or any other sitting board member currently a member of the CCP? What is the expected water usage demand? We can be given parameters within percentages. What is the strategic what is the strategic development plan? What will the timeline be made? When will the timeline be made public? This is November 21st of 2022, and we don't have answers to any of these questions. That is a problem. Why would we sell our farmland to China? Great question. Scope of operations waste. What happens to water once it's used to cool the lithium? How can it be guaranteed not to contaminate water supply? Life expectancy of lithium batteries. How are they disposed of? Why are there still no answers? Transparency. How will we know that the water plant is to be protected? Concern of it being distributed to our schools, nursing homes, etc. What is the plan for the actual wastewater for the city as well? You see, the majority of the questions have to do with our water. And who could blame us? Michigan water is very precious. Water in general is precious, of course. But here in Michigan, we know what it's like to have our water poisoned and nothing happened to anybody about it. And it never gets fixed. So why would we want to take that risk? How much of the factory will be controlled by Chinese or eventually robots? How is this going to affect our schools, hospitals, etc.? What are the plans in place? Will Gotion help support such local factors? Can the government override the township's decision? What does the $50 million grant the right place will be put in charge of cover? Will they receive interest? Why not lease the land? Why are elected officials not being included on the weekly updates? How will this affect our cost of food and the electricity because of the demand increase in the area? Great question. Does anyone know of any more costs taxpayers coming in the future? Has there been any discussion of involving American companies to be involved in the project? FBI, CIA, etc. Ugh. Why would you want the FBI and the CIA to be involved in anything around here? Yeah. What is the plan of prevention for a major disaster fire? How will they train our local fire departments? Great question. Great question. If you know anything about lithium battery fires, it's so concerning. So concerning. We're a small town. Our fire station is small. I think that I don't know how many fire trucks they have, so I'm not going to say, but we're a small local government. We would not be able to handle a giant fire. We'd have to boost our fire department significantly in order to be prepared for a disaster. Will the storage facility foster 100% capacity, or will it be produced and shipped within a certain time span? What is the potential size of a fire of a storage facility of this size? What has Gotion done to support local community programs? What is the solution for light and sound pollution? How will the airport be affected? How many hours, days, a week will the factory operate? Very good questions. The fact that they're not answered November 21st. Concerning. Let's see, page 8. November 23rd. B. Gotion. Categorizing questions: conspiracy, future impact, environmental. Now, the question, when it says conspiracy, does it mean the conspiracy of hiding information, that certain people are aware of the details and yet the public is not? Or are they talking about conspiracy as in worrying about China? I would like to know exactly what this means, but alas, I won't until I go to the meeting March 7th and ask the questions that I want to ask. International attorney being contacted. MTA attorney says Micah Myers is one of the best. I don't know if that's the attorney they at. If it is, I'm going to look into them. ESG score of company, improvements and explanations. We will get the ESG score later on, but I do want to say that Sri Lanka had an ESG score of 98 out of 100 right before they collapsed. So the ESG score is not something we need to care about. In fact, if it has a high ESG score, you might be worried. Board does not agree with Stanek representing MCDC before Township in regards to Project Elephant. Conflict of interest. A conflict of interest because Bill Stanek is actually a part of the MCDC. Let's see, the MCDC. The MEDC partners with organizations across the state who engage in a variety of economic development activities, including financing, matchmaking. This is the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. So Bill from Big Rapids is involved. Oops, not that one. Not that one either. There it is. Sorry. Right here. Go down to Mecosta County. That's what it is. Mecosta County Development Corporation, Big Rapids. So these people are all connected through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. We're going to look into these guys in another video because they are very important for all of this tech business coming to Michigan. They are a key. Board does not agree. Okay, EGLE authority, governor supersedes. unanswered questions from attorney, MCDC, and The Right Place. The Right Place is a partner of the MCDC. Lack of information involvement in weekly meetings from the MCDC, even though board voted to involve Everett and Curry along with Stanek. So, as you can see, this is November 23rd, 2:30 p.m., 2022, and the board does not want Bill Stanek to be the head on this because of a conflict of interest. Page 45. Supervisor report for November of 2022 from old Bill. November has been a good month with Thanksgiving holiday. This month has not been extremely busy. The main thing I usually do in November is contact the committee members that are up for reappointment. I still have one position to fill. This was the easiest time that I have ever had in filling these positions. I am thankful we have so many people willing to serve. The recommendations are included on the agenda for this meeting. I am also attaching to this report my notes from the meeting I have had with The Right Place, Consumers Energy, and the state of Michigan. This month, besides our 3 special meetings, I have attended 1 city commission meeting and the joint meeting with the city, Green Township. I have also attended the city county Ferris meeting as well as our planning commission meeting and roads committee meeting. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. 46. Here we go. Elephant discussion, Project Elephant. Aaron, with Gotion, gave update that the company is working with some of their affiliates in China to come up with projections on the utility quantities for the proposed plant in Big Rapids will be. He said they are also reviewing the proposed layout to confirm how much land they will need and more of the configuration of the buildings. Also, they are working on transferring funds to an account that they will be able to use for their land purchases. Kelly said that Randy, Brent, and herself have worked out a timeline for both townships. Brent and Kelly said they would be at our meeting on the 21st. By then, they hope to have more answers for us. Bill Wadsworth said they are continuing conversations each week with the company on electrical needs. A meeting lasted 13 minutes. So this was the 8th. So this was before that meeting that happened on the 21st. Yes, that meeting that happened on the 21st. And yet, they still didn't have any answers on that meeting. This was the 15th. We had a 9-minute meeting this morning. Brent said the company is working hard to get us information on water and sewage usage for the 21st. He also said that they are renewing their agreements with the property owners to have more time to purchase the property. It will not happen before the year end. Consumers needs a layout of buildings so they can order supplies. They have a 28-month lead time on some equipment. The state hopes to have this before the legislature before year end. Kelly and Brent will be at the meeting. Didn't really matter that they were at the meeting. They didn't answer any questions, unfortunately. Page 46. Okay. Page 80. Okay. So this is the Big Rapids Township social media policy. I'm not going to go over the entire thing. I think that you should read it if you're interested in the details. But I just wanted to go down here. The Facebook should include a link to the Facebook or any relevant outlets. Social media pages should state that the opinions expressed by visitors to the pages do not reflect the opinions of the township. Pages shall clearly indicate that posted comments will be monitored and that the township reserves the right to remove obscenities, off-topic comments, and personal attacks. So the reason I highlighted this, they must have an active Facebook presence, and people must be commenting, so I will dive into that. If I find anything interesting, I will share it with you in another video, because I am definitely staying on this story until it's done. This is really important for this area, and I'm from this area, and I'm very worried myself. Very concerned Michigander. So okay, next up. The next packet is this one. Oh no. Oh no. It won't let me open it because I don't have... Yeah. Alright, well, I'll come back to that. Gotion frequently asked questions, updated December 13th. Okay, so maybe we'll get some questions answered in this. The following questions are in response to questions that arose during Big Rapids Charter Township meeting on 11/21 and subsequent questions brought forth by the Big Rapids Board of Trustees. What impact on labor force for current local manufacturers? Okay, sorry, just double checking the stream once again. What impact on labor force for current local manufacturers? The company intends to hire upwards of 2,350 people over the course of 10 years. Facilities of this size will pull from a radius of at least 50 miles. A task force comprised of talent resources at local, regional, and state levels will be assembled to build a robust talent pipeline to meet the demand for all area manufacturers. Initially, the company will be looking to hire 150 to 200 workers in late 2024. What are Gotion's plans to indemnify Green Charter Township, Big Rapids Township, Mecosta County, and the state of Michigan in the event of a major environmental issue? The company must comply with EGLE and EP regulations. Does that answer any questions? It's just saying we have to follow these regulations. But what happens if you fail to do so? Is the EPA and the EGLE going to hold you account, Gotion? Hold you into account? I don't think so. Again, Flint, Michigan, nobody was held to account. So we're just supposed to trust our government and Chinese government. What are the milestones that must be met regarding the project? The MEDC has offered an incentive package to Gotion to support their decision to locate in Big Rapids. That's important. The incentive package requires an agreement between the company and the state of Michigan, which is to be finalized in the months ahead. This agreement will stipulate the milestones that must be met in order for grant funds to be dispersed. While still to be negotiated by the state, typically, these milestones center on land acquisition, commencing construction, hiring of people, making investments, etc. The townships could incorporate similar milestones in the development agreements that will be necessary in the months ahead. Why is Gotion so hesitant to disclose its affiliation with the Chinese, specifically the VW China ownership structure? We feel that the company adequately addressed this directly on 9/26/2022 in a public forum at the county, and is on record that their business is not owned by the Chinese government. Okay, so we feel that we adequately address this. The only person from the notes, mind you, that said that it's not a Chinese government, is not the Chinese government, is Randy Thelen, who is the CEO of The Right Place, who is with the MEDC, who wants to get this pushed through. Please refer to the company ownership research report provided by the townships and county on 11/21/22 that verifies the company ownership. Subsequent to that meeting, a question was raised that VW China, shareholder of Gotion, may be owned in part by the Chinese government. Follow-up research confirmed that Volkswagen China is wholly owned by Volkswagen Germany. Okay, I know that I'm jumping a little bit, but I need to share this with you. Global EV battery market share shows that Gotion High-Tech is 2.5% of the top EV battery makers in the world. Chinese power battery giant, okay. China's CALB, Gotion High-Tech, 2.5%. All right, this is the one right here. Gotion to build $2.3 billion battery materials plant in Michigan. So, share of top EV battery makers in China. Gotion High-Tech, 4.76%. It's the largest economic development project ever in northern Michigan and will shore up the state's position as a global hub for mobility and electrification, said Michigan's governor. So, do we want that? Volkswagen-backed Chinese power battery giant Gotion High-Tech will invest billions of dollars in a battery materials plant in Michigan despite scrutiny of such investments due to U.S.-China decoupling concerns. Has chosen Big Rapids, which will create 2,350 jobs. October 5th statement. So that's when I found out about this. It is the largest economic development plan project ever undertaken. Founded in 1998 and headquartered in Hefei, China. Gotion was incorporated in California with research and development activities primarily in Fremont and Cleveland, Ohio. Michigan Strategic Fund Board approved the investment by Gotion, which will launch multi-phase project in Big Rapids to build a battery component manufacturing facility to serve North America. Once completed, the plant is expected to produce 150,000 tons of cathode material per year, with two 550,000 square foot production plants planned, as well as other supporting facilities. In addition, the project will involve the construction of two production plants dedicated to the production of anodes, ultimately producing 50,000 tons of anode material per year. In order to secure the project, Michigan won out over Texas. Did we win, though? Did we? The MSF board approved the package instead of supporting. Okay. Gotion is China's fourth largest power battery maker, with a 4.76% market share in the country in August. So, it's China's fourth largest power battery maker. I want you to be aware of that. Really quick, the cathodes and anodes. I think this is important to understand. Anode material. Once it loads up. Anode materials are the negative electrode in lithium-ion batteries and are paired with cathode materials in a lithium-ion cell. The anode materials in lithium-ion cells act as the host, where they reversibly allow lithium-ion intercalation. Okay. So, anode materials include low first cycle, okay. Gives you an idea. The cathode that we're going to be creating 150,000 tons of is comprised of cobalt, nickel, and manganese in the crystal structure forming a multi-metal oxide material to which lithium is added. So, these are the chemicals that we will have right next to our river. Cobalt, nickel, manganese. Also, graphite. The anode in lithium-ion battery is typically made up of graphite coated on copper foil. Graphite is a crystalline solid. So, now you know a list of materials that will be at this battery plant on our river. Oh yes, I can get rid of these too. All right. Uh-oh. Where did it go? There we go. Sorry. Jumping all around. What is expected water usage demand? We can be given perimeters within percentages. Data provided by the company estimates usage is approximately 50% of the well capacity available in the Big Rapids Township Industrial Park. When will the timeline be made public? The draft timeline was shared with the township and county and is now a public document. Please understand that the project on this scale changes often occur. Why would we sell our farmland to China? The land would be sold to Gotion, a U.S. subsidiary of Chinese-based Gotion High-Tech, not to the Chinese government. Scope of operations: waste. The company will provide details regarding waste stream of materials and wastewater content and air exhaust during the permitting process with EGLE and EPA. And researching other similar advanced battery operations, host communities indicate no issues regarding waste streams from similar facilities. Currently, there are 7 operating battery plants with 15 additional advanced battery plants under construction, according to a recent report. So they're not going to tell you what the damage of all those chemicals in the water would be. But it's not happened in all these other ones, so don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. What happens to water once it's used to cool the lithium? How can it be guaranteed not to contaminate water supply? The company will have on-site pre-treatment facilities for treatment of wastewater prior to any discharge into the municipal sewer system. The wastewater processing plant is monitored by the city with oversight from EGLE. Again, you have to trust Gotion, a Chinese company, and our government. Trust them. Life expectancy of lithium batteries. How are they disposed of? Auto industry standard is to warranty a battery for automotive use for 10 years. They only last 6 to 8. From all the studies that I've read, look into it. Upon exhausting the useful life of the battery for the vehicle, ion batteries are often reused for stationary storage facilities at wind farms, for example. Once that usefulness expires, the batteries are then recycled by supplier companies. These recyclers will contract with Gotion and other advanced battery manufacturing to recycle any batteries that don't meet quality specifications produced during the manufacturing process and or end-of-life batteries. We have no idea how to effectively deconstruct the battery and make sure that everything is either recycled or safely disposed of. So them just saying, oh, Gotion is going to hire a third party, and we're just supposed to trust that, when if you do any kind of research, you know they don't know how to get rid of these batteries. China has a huge problem with a landfill full of batteries. But yeah, trust them. Why are there still no answers? Transparency. The first point of contact with the company came directly to Big Rapids Township. The township supervisor then sought out support from MEDC, MCDC, and Right Place. In the fall of 2021, the site requirements expanded into Green Charter Township, and communication with the Green Charter supervisor commenced. While there are certain things that could not be shared, such as those involving private land negotiations, we felt that we did communicate what we knew at the time. This was done through regular meetings and updates. We were not aware of a communication issue until it came to our attention earlier this fall. We have made steps to improve communication, as we do not want to be an obstacle in getting you the information you need. The shift in communication started in earnest late this summer, when the company determined that the Big Rapids area was their preferred location. Meetings were arranged to meet with all local elected officials, 2 townships, county, and city, which included time with company leaders, RPI, and MCDC staff. Invitations were also extended to public officials to tour the state's largest battery plant in Holland, and a Zoom meeting to ask questions of the Holland city manager to better understand what their experience has been. More recently, a series of documents were shared with the township, county, and city that relate to incentive and grant applications. These documents were published on the respective township websites. So, now you know. The supervisor of Green Township and the supervisor of Big Rapids Township knew in advance of everybody else and did not disclose it. In fact, Bill Stanek went to MEDC and MCDC and the Right Place. He went to big government. Help me. How will we know that the water plant is to be protected? Concern of it being distributed to our schools, nursing homes, etc. Water quality is managed by regulations established by the local wastewater operations, EGLE, and EPA. The company will comply with these standards. The company will also employ an environmental health and safety officer to oversee their internal operations and work with community partners. What is the plan for the actual wastewater for the city water as well? The company will pre-treat its wastewater before it flows to the city system for final treatment. How much of the factory will be controlled by Chinese or eventually robots? Gotion will hire additional U.S. employees to construct, manage, and perform manufacturing activities. It will be a highly automated process, including some robots and other automation equipment, requiring a skilled workforce to operate and maintain the equipment. During installation of the equipment and commissioning of the manufacturing process, Gotion will likely send engineers from their Chinese-based operations to oversee and assist the launch. Now, this is important because they're saying Chinese-based engineers are going to come. I really quick wanted to share this that I found. Gotion's founder is a member of CCP and formerly served at the Anhui, I'm sorry if I messed that up, Provincial Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. The Big Rapids Township is being asked to sell a water plant and industrial park property for the project. The questioning of its product quality has put Chinese power battery giant Gotion High-Tech in the spotlight. A local battery manufacturer claimed Gotion was responsible for battery explosions and spontaneous combustions in a shared electric scooter operator that used Gotion cell battery packs they supplied. So this is from, I believe, a Chinese reporter. But I thought that was interesting that the founder of Gotion is a member of the CCP. And there's this. Right down here. Gotion Inc. has filed 34 labor condition applications for H-1B visa and 4 labor certificates for green card. Don't know if that is master's degree, if these are basically the people that could be coming. But Gotion CEO is most definitely part of the CCP. So just wanted to put that in there. Give you a little bit more information, since it doesn't seem like we're going to get it all from these people. Can the government override the township's decision? No, the local jurisdiction has zoning, site plan approval authority. In the case of Big Rapids Charter Township, the jurisdiction also owns land and water system to consider selling. Going back to how it's going to affect our schools, hospitals, MCDC has met with the local hospital and school district to collect questions as the process moves forward, with each institution expressing strong support of the project. One example of the positive impact this project would have on the community is with the public school bond issue. The approved Renaissance Zone does not waive property taxes for bonded indebtedness. Once the plant is fully built and operational, some have estimated the current Big Rapids Public Schools bond issue could be paid off twice as fast as the current pace. Okay, so there you go. You get some money. You could poison your water, but hey, we'll get some money. What does the $50 million grant the right place will be put in charge of cover? Will they receive interest? The proposed $50 million grant is from the State Critical Industry Program, CIP. These funds will be used for land assembly, infrastructure, and site preparation activities. RPI will seek an admin fee to cover costs related to grant administration. As far as any interest that may be collected, grant funds typically are not allowed to collect interest. If it is possible, those interest funds would be used for additional infrastructure or site preparation activities. Why not lease the land? While leasing land has grown slightly in popularity, for a project that proposes to invest $2.3 billion, it is not a practical option. No company would make that level of investment on land they do not own. Why are elected officials not being included on the weekly updates? The supervisors of each township have been participating in regular meetings. with the understanding they act as a liaison to the balance of their respective boards. That probably ticked off some people. How will this affect our cost of food and electricity because of the demand increase in the area? This should have no impact on local costs of food and electricity, as those costs are driven by economic factors well beyond any local economic dynamic. That's not true. It's about supply and demand. If the demand for the area goes up and the supply stays the same, then prices go up. Now, we all should know supply chains are not very good right now. So supply could actually be going down. With demand going up, this could be an absolute disaster for the area. So for them to say it would have no impact is either a bold-faced lie or ignorance. It's up to you. Malevolence or ignorance. Those are the only two solutions. Does anyone know of any more costs to taxpayers coming in the future? Unclear what this is asking. Related to the project, the infrastructure costs are being addressed with grant funding, and emergency response costs are being covered with a pilot. Has there been any discussion of involving American companies to be involved with this project? The BRT property has been marketed for sale for industrial use for nearly 2 decades with limited interest. It's because of taxes. Since the announcement of the project, more than 20 other companies and developers have reached out to expand in the West Michigan region to supply this project. How about we give tax incentives to non-technology companies, technological companies? This is, again, that's the only reason. It's because our governor gave huge tax incentives for tech companies that we have this company interested. How about we just give huge tax incentives to recreational companies? Or my idea at the end. What is the plan of prevention for a major disaster fire? How will they train our local fire departments? Local Fire Chief Steve was invited and attended a tour on 9/26/2022 at LG Holland Plant to see the operation of battery plant. Any questions and concerns were discussed throughout the tour. Local meetings will be put in place when the project progresses to discuss any locally specific questions or issues. Will the storage facility foster 100% capacity, or will it be produced and shipped within a certain time span? Unclear what the question is asking. What was Gotion done to support local community programs? Gotion plans to work with Fair State University with developing programs in the battery EV industry and assist in training for workforce development that will be hired. MCDC has been talking with MOISD and local school districts on shifting the curriculum in the district to meet the needs of employers to capture those students who will graduate and head into the workforce. Much like other new companies to the community over the years, it is reasonable to anticipate the company being an active community supporter of a variety of local programs and initiatives. So again, Fair State University is heavily involved in this project. So there's a conflict of interest between President Bill Pink, CEO and President of The Right Place, Randy Thelen, and Chuck Thelen, who is Gotion representative. Those 3 individuals are working together to bring this project to us and have been for quite some time. So we need to understand who these 3 people are, and I definitely plan on deep diving into all that in the next video, because this one, unfortunately, I will not have the time. What is the solution for light and sound pollution? The company will adhere to local light and sound ordinances. How will the air be affected? Any buildings to be built within the BRT industrial park area must adhere to certain height restrictions to avoid impacting the flight pattern. How many hours, days a week will the factory operate? Subject to change, it is expected to run 22 hours a day, 6 days a week. Mecosta County Road Commission questions. Wastewater questions. I'm going to jump down here. Standard industrial code for this type of battery plant. I'll dive into that code, see if I can find anything. Gallons per day water usage for the entire plant and site operations. Preliminary estimates by Gotion at 38,000 gallons an hour for all operations. So there you go, 38,000 gallons of water an hour to operate 6 days a week, 22 and a half hours a day. This equates to roughly half the capacity of the wells installed by Big Rapids Township when first building the industrial park. Gallons per day sanitary waste discharged into the sanitary sewer. Company to provide estimates during the permitting process. Gotion stated some water will be recycled, some evaporated during manufacturing cooling process and on-site pretreatment. Therefore, the amount of wastewater discharged into the municipal system will likely be less than the amount of water coming into Gotion facilities. Strength of the above sanitary waste. Waste stream characteristics and concentrations of total suspended solids, volatile suspended solids, phosphorus, ammonia, nitrogen, fats, oils, grease, metals, volatile organic compounds, dissolved oxygen, temperature, pH, etc. Company to provide wastewater content during permitting process. Will the sanitary waste system stream comply with our local sewer use ordinance, or will on-site pretreatment processes be required before discharge into sanitary sewer? The project will utilize on-site pretreatment and comply with local sewer use ordinances. Anticipated population growth over the next 5 years. From the rent zone application, Gotion anticipates hiring 1,865 employees by the end of 2028, with a total of 2,350 by the end of 2029. Big Rapids Charter Township and Green Charter Township are similar-sized communities with 2020 populations of 3,900 and 3,200 respectively. They have limited financial resources. Mecosta County's 2020 population was 39,000 people between 2010 and 2020. The county recorded a population loss of 7%. The city of Big Rapids is the county seat with a 2020 population of 8,948. This project will spark growth and prosperity in the region. Okay. And it doesn't look like much was given about the road, so I'm not going to go over all that. I'm going to go into the next section here. So we go back here. All right. So we just looked at the questions. Now we're going to go to January 3rd. Let's see here. Page 2, item A, December 6th, 2022, 7 p.m. I'm going to read the public comment. Robert Fisher, sole purpose of the MCDC meetings for updates on questions, timelines, risks associated, project risks, general economic impact, fragile construction site risks and sites approved, business risks and sales demand of batteries, community risks. Welcome here. Waiting to build trust, apology on not being as forthcoming and transparent, hopes that members will attend meetings going forward. Kelly W., thank you for your investment in MCDC. Patty Downey, wanting everyone to go to do thorough research on Gotion, grave concerns about tax money going to wrong people. There's Patty again. She's on top of this. She wants everyone to do thorough research on Gotion, as you should. Jeremy, great budget. Thank you for prior public meeting on Gotion. Allowed for different viewpoints. Different points of view, and provided that opportunity can move vision forward. Project may be fluid, fragile, but community is not. Okay. Tracy said something. Page 4. This is December 14th, 7 p.m. Purpose of meeting, new business. Okay. The purpose of the special meeting is to meet with residents of Big Rapids Township and public regarding their comments, questions, and concerns. I see. So this was before, or this was the December questions. Okay. Sorry. A lot of notes, a lot of stuff to go over. New business, number 2. Presentation of slides, okay. Bill Pink, Fair State University presentation. Local, responsive, relevant. Providing what's needed, acknowledging opportunities, creating training, skills, help with the state of Michigan, Mecosta County. Shame on us if not considering opportunity. Appreciates more conversation. Content that Ferris doesn't have. Needs to state College of Engineering. States with electric, batteries, cars emerging, we ought to be doing this work. Ferris State University known for responsiveness in the industry. If we have the space, bandwidth to join into the community, people with experience in Ferris State University can help partner, they will. Knows nothing about a standing offer with Gotion and Ferris State University. This is our community, good to communicate, good dialogue, hard questions, treat each other that way. Yeah, I really wish that I could get that open, this packet. Yeah. Because I think that's the presentation that the Ferris State University Bill Pink did. And in it, there is something about 100 to 200 Chinese students coming to Ferris. So that's the deal that somebody heard about, that he's claiming he knows nothing about. At least he knows nothing about a standing offer with Gotion and Ferris State University. But somebody heard a rumor about 100 to 200 Chinese residents coming to Big Rapids and going to Ferris State University to work at Gotion specifically. So I have not found that information. I'm still looking. If you know anything about that, please comment down below. I would like to dive into that information as well, see where that came from. Number 4, review of Gotion High Tech Company history. Bean presents information on history, pros, cons, incentives, all on website. Review of incentives, pros, cons, also gives ESG, environmental, social governance rating, 32.5. Again, ESG, Sri Lanka had 98 out of 100 and their economy collapsed, so we have to be careful with the ESG scores. Review of incentives, pros, cons, okay. New questions from the BRT board, Curry, any known timeline, expediting, felon, none, extensive due diligence timeline, still 3/31/23. So that's the first time we've heard of that in these notes, I believe. Mecosta County Road Commission question review. Answers given via Gotion fact sheet on website. Nestle states no questions, but MCRC is very underfunded. Question asked if revenue changes if Gotion does come. He stated no. Funded on certification and funds remain the same. One comment given from Road Commission not being able to commit any funds to the project. MDOT not using incentives, and they are piecing together the application to discuss funds, separate grants for roads. Conversation regarding changes to 2020th and timely coincidence. I don't know what that's about, but it's interesting. City mentions potential expansion of runway as Gotion has noted needing larger airport. So there's something didn't know about. Public comment. Tim, schools are excited about opportunity, want to be involved with training, growth capacity, prepared for amount of people, unknown. Hoping for gradual growth, upgrades, student count currently strong. Consumers energy, figured into Gotion's rate, question asked. Increase in demand, increase in price, unknown. They don't set a rate, is submitted and approved. Confident they can meet energy demands of Gotion, clarification regarding CMS signing bonus, consumers incentive. So yeah, they can handle it, but we're constantly being told we need to be worried about our energy grid in the United States. Maybe not specifically Michigan, but it's worrisome. Paul, taxes for co-taxes collected not compared to housing developments that will come into community. Money never seen if project doesn't happen. Taxes won't go up more than 5% or the rate of inflation. County controller. Tom, 2,300 employees employed within 10 years. Does WWTP have capacity? Will it affect nearby wells? Proximity. Stanek, no city water wells nearby. Patty, 1121 meeting minutes. Board does not agree with Stanek representing MCDC before Township in regards to Project Elephant. Conflict of interest. Clarifies minutes. Stanek serves as MCDC treasurer. Township ethics states cannot put needs, interests of other committees' boards above those of elected official position. So there you have it. Patty is commenting on the conflict of interest, and I didn't know that MCDC treasurer fell in charge of the money. And the township ethics states that the township should come first. So why wasn't the township notified as soon as MCDC knew? Or rather, Stanek. It's shady stuff. It ain't cool. Pioneer, Randy Thelen, quoted on company, currently has 500 acres under contract. No, not under contract yet. Contract's currently up for renewal in Green Township. Chuck Thelen. At the end of the day, 11 manufacturing sites with 2 in the U.S. where they did not answer. So that is concerning. Why can't we know? And the fact that Chuck Thelen is, again, he's out of Michigan. He's from Michigan. But he's working for Gotion. And his last name happens to be the same as Randy Thelen, who's working for the right place to bring businesses into Michigan. It's all so fishy to me. You can talk about grants, incentives, state money, Fed money. Bottom line is this taxpayer money? For myself, I cannot fathom why we'd want our taxpayer money to go to support a Chinese company coming to this area. Distinction between Chinese government and Chinese company, naive, if didn't recognize Chinese companies under strict control of Chinese government. Ask Township Board to be skeptical. Constituents deserve that. Work for the residents, not Gotion, not the right place, not Ferris State University, and not the governor. You're working for the people of Big Rapids, not the leadership that is all trying to push this through. Tracy, our state does have taxpayer money, wants money here, wants infrastructure upgrades. If we could get this paid by grants, why wouldn't we? Reduction in school bonds, opportunities for builders. Housing Commission wants space, UOFM research seminar, decline in Mecosta County in population and opportunities, and this is an opportunity for us. Education training with MOISD and battery technology certification for adults. People driving to GR daily to make over $25 an hour and improving family life with children. Plant built somewhere, built in US. Why would we not want opportunity for it to be there? 20 other places have reached out to expand area according to Gotion. Not one person in this room knows anything about environment, but EGLE does, and they will control. Cultural change, university gotten better because of diversity. CEO must abide by to operate. Rules, regulations. So yeah, not one person in this room knows anything about environment. Trust the government. Look to authority. Don't think for yourself. You don't know anything about the environment. Even if you've done a bunch of research, you didn't go and get a degree. You don't work for the government, so you can't think for yourself. It's so infuriating. I'm sorry, Tracy, but you're wrong. People can know about the environment, and they can understand that chemicals such as graphite, cobalt, nickel, these chemicals in our water are terrible for us and for the wildlife. You don't need to have a degree to know that. You don't need to work for the government to know that. If we don't bring it here, what will we do to replace that opportunity? I want to wait till the end, but I've got to tell you right now, the opportunity that we have in front of us could be, with that 550 acres, the Eden Project. A huge greenhouse. Environmentally friendly, of course. And the sad part is there are no Eden projects in the United States. So why don't we make Michigan the first? The first place where we build and provide food for the entire state of Michigan, and if we do well enough, the country. Let's be a recreational area with bikes and kayaks and food. Going back, Dave, 3 numbers to keep in mind. 40 average township household income, 36% below average. Yes, poverty level less 25. 67% of elementary children qualify for free and reduced lunch. Yes, this is a poor area. That's true. But that doesn't mean that we want tech jobs. We want jobs, but not tech jobs. Dan, Green Township. Some friends work for BMW, part of training team that came over in hopes they're accepted by community and hopes that Big Rapids will do the same. Lydiana, how is water well going to be protected if something happens? Are we going to hold factory responsible for them pay? Oh. Chuck, questions answered, long wait from engineers. Will have wastewater treatment facility and count on collection of water. Currently working on wetland study for property. Bean on Mark Gifford's comment on policy online, post a site. When will they have questions they don't have? When they have questions they don't have answers to, where should they go? Gene, why Gotion to US? Why China buying up farmland different places in the US? Chuck, very nuclear question. Personally, global economics, battery industry in South Korea and China, economic driven topic, companies that make a product, behind curve on electronic vehicles in US, good work with politics past years to see changes. I don't know what that nuclear question comment means, but of course Chuck Thelen is for Gotion coming to Big Rapids, so he works for a Chinese company. So he doesn't like it when you're saying, why should we sell to China? Clarification on Chinese created jobs, state not incentivizing non-American jobs, incentivizing 2,300 Michigan citizen American jobs. Kate, have we had any relationship with Green Township, any relationship, and could project go entirely in Green, if not approved, in Big Rapids Township? Answered by board, yes, we have been, but refusal to participate in co-hosting meetings. I don't know what that means, but is Green Township not cooperating with Big Rapids Township? I'm not sure. Jerry, if more people come together and concentrate on building bridges rather than one organization pointing a finger and saying they are the problem, no need for a contentious relationship. Can't respect each other's ideas, can disagree on things healthily. Being different world views. Curry, decision not about Chinese company, battery factor, etc. Is this a good fit for our community? Economically, yes. In other ways, just trying to discover if it is. Wayne, water plant and how little it's used and what it costs per year to operate and big benefit to company coming in. Stanek, 3 customers, $20K per year to keep operating and hoping to get something to use the water. Big help to company. Size of tank 300,000 gallons, designed for the size of plant. Tom White, anodes and cathodes, not complete battery, only 62% of costs. Making components to finished goods location that will have even larger plant. Does Gotion make transformers? No. If Gotion does get property, is there anything that would stop you from making full battery or more product? Any further increase in scope would be discussed with Michigan government, the right place. The right place. Feel a lot better about this meeting. It's complex, challenging, everyone accepting answers to best of ability. Starting in January, MCDC developing task force for the project. Help with communication process. Kelly works for the right place. Brett says, please don't give any tax incentive. Use that as money. Sell the water plant to them and pay off debt. Ask us to please consider that. Get with Green Township and charge fee to do environmental testing. Options to consider. Mike, how many employees, local jobs compared to Chinese jobs? Chuck goals to have everyone employed from Michigan or nearby. China only to come for setup. Groundwater usage rate expected to be. Lydiana, what are all of metals used for product? Chuck, hire our own environmental team. A lot of energy to make energy and comes through raw materials. EHS directors that live on site. How many on team? I don't know what any of that means. Hire our own environmental team? A lot of energy to make energy? It sounds like, yeah. Joe, thank you for more transparency. Reconfigured MCDC site. Have we approached any American company 2 days ago in Detroit Free Press, ex-governor, current Stabenow agreement in Lansing with GM? Any inclining think any inkling, yes, I just want to read it wrong. Any inkling that GM interested at all. GM knew they wanted to be there. Inquiries from companies looking to locate in West Michigan. Didn't actively start looking until June of 2021. Green Township, same attorney voted to separate attorney work. Sue infrastructure on 2020th and widening the road has possibility of damaging properties. What happens to homeowners and if they have to sell property? Possibility of 18-mile on-off ramps. Initial meeting reinforcing on-off ramps 19-mile. Road widening cannot exceed ordinances in place. Lots of bad publicity events where lithium fires have occurred. People not able to leave homes until safe. An event of a disaster, large fire, etc. Please work on providing more risk analysis. So yes, not much has been said about fire. That's something that needs to be talked about. Mayor, water coming out of the plant not needing any extra treatment. And okay, the mayor's saying you don't need extra treatment. They are going to do extra treatment, supposedly, before it goes into the city water, but the mayor says it doesn't even need it. Unknown. Michigan desperately needs it. Not against battery plant. I hope people take it to heart. China does not like America. They want American resources they don't have. Don't treat own employees fairly. All for leasing land. Please ask people to take discernment and heart. Joe. So much of concern heard is about China being involved. Thought to propose most people in room, phones in room made in China. Nike, Adidas made in China. So many economic relations. News, yes, hostility, but US is extremely tied to China. Okay, it's one thing to buy a phone that's from China. It's another thing to have a Chinese company on your river in your backyard. Big difference there, Joe. Bill, we're just getting started. Every question generates another question. Bill, big question. Do we want it? Gamble. Very important for as much info as possible. Gary, technology that is Chinese made. Great technology from us and take it there and get cheap labor and ship back to us. We'll just change the way we live in town. World War II, vets and barbershop, the enemy. Chinese, why here, big grant, everything electric. China sent rocket up to destroy satellites. Not friendly company. Okay. Maybe talking about the balloon? The balloon didn't happen yet, did it? Can board make public referendum ballot proposal? Kevin, 220th major coincidence, devil's advocate, other side government publicly made this as done deal. Kelly with the right place creating planning committee for this. I don't know exactly what this is being said, but it sounds like they're not happy that it was publicly made as a done deal, basically, which I feel the same. Brad, MDOT, 3 to 5 year plan, now Class A road, water issue, site work. Groundwater costs them about $50,000. Groundwater so high in Holland. Superior excavating, multiple high drains, high water table, a civil engineer. This project is safe, involved with EGLE, no issues there. Fire safety, Mark Gifford on conference call with Steve, willing to share about warehouse where lithium batteries caught on fire. Takeaway was you could find pieces of fire issues, but also information to better prepare. Last comment was congratulating Big Rapids on Gotion. Mayor, all fire codes upgraded to fight lithium fires. Okay. So the mayor just put a bunch of words, did a bunch of word salad. He upgraded fire codes. But what does that mean? Did he upgrade the fire department? Do we have, are we going to have way more fire trucks and way more firefighters? I don't know what to say about the mayor. It's a no good, let's say that. I also have something about this fire safety. Nick, they didn't even know there were batteries in plant that caught fire. Referencing. Thanks for attendance. 9 o'clock. So that was a lot. And I'm sorry that it's a little bit, cut up. But these are the notes that we were given, and they're better than any other notes I've found. So I appreciate whoever put all this online for me to look at. However, the firefighter thing is really important because firefighters used 12,000 gallons of water to extinguish burning Tesla model, and that was just a car. 12,000 gallons. Majority of fires take 2,000 to 3,000. Right here, eventually burning 2 tankers quickly put 4,000 water, but found that was insufficient. Additional tankers were called from 3 other fire departments, total of 12,000 gallons. 45,000 liters of water were required to put the fire out. That's considerably more than a normal car fire, which takes as little as 500 gallons to put out. So, the fire chief comment, I must say, is downplaying how much water it takes for just a car lithium battery fire, not to mention a huge battery plant that's producing the batteries. Let's see, this one. This right here, I'm going to have you listen really quick to the fire chief. Let's see, Holland Fire Marshal Brett. Oh, man.
The potential issue that you can encounter with electric vehicles is an issue called thermal runaway, where one battery in a sequence of batteries, depending on how they're designed and put together, you can have a thermal runaway event, and that can cause a significant fire that is difficult to control based on where the batteries are in the vehicle. It's something that we're wondering about at the station. We talk about this stuff on the regular, so I hope we figure out a way to deal with it. I'll be real with you. But yeah, right now, you and me talking, it's difficult to put out an electric vehicle fire depending on, again, where the power supply is in the vehicle and how it's accessed.
There you have it. And that's just, again, a vehicle fire. That is not the whole battery plant if it went up in flames. How would we stop it? And Big Rapids Fire Department is small. Local fire departments all around are small. So it's something that we are concerned about. Fire and water. Fire and water. Okay. Page 36. This was a meeting December 19th, and at 11:30. Bill updated the committee on some of what is going on with the sewer system. We now have 10 homes, Spectrum. Right here, sorry. Bill explained that if the board decides to sell the industrial park to Gotion, that the water plant could be part of it. And it is. It's not could be. It is. So it's 100 acres, just actually over 100 acres of Big Rapids Township land, and the rest of the 500 total acres, so 300 something or just under 400 acres, is from Green Township. And the water plant is part of the Big Rapids Township land that will be sold. So we're going to sell water and land to China, potentially. Okay, we have the supervisor's report from old Bill, December 2022. Let's see. Thanks for a very good informational meeting with the community regarding the Gotion project. I have received several compliments for clarifying some of the issues people were concerned about. Other than this meeting, I have no other meetings this month on the project since our December meeting. I also skipped the December meeting on the Mecosta County Development Corporation. I did meet with the Green Township supervisor in the city this month. We spent some time going over the budget for 2023. We also had a utility meeting this month and spent some time on the user charge. The committee is recommending it to the board for approval. The committee also felt that we need to pass along the increase from the city to the customers this year. I also attended the board of review meeting this month. Other than that, I was able to attend 2 city commission meetings where they talked about looking into improving the water situation at the hills of Mitchell Creek. Pass along the... sorry about that. As always, thank you for the opportunity to serve. Okay. Page 60. Next thing, Big Rapids Charter Township Water Treatment Facility Contract. Big Rapids Charter Township agrees to contract with Kevin 220th Avenue, Big Rapids, Michigan, a private contractor to oversee the township water system for a period of 1 year beginning February 1st of 2023 and ending January 31st, 2024. Contractor agrees to perform all duties listed in the Exhibit A, Water Treatment Facility Contract Scope of Work to be performed for the amount of $12,500 per year, billed monthly. Contractor shall furnish Township with proof of liability insurance before any invoices are paid. Contractor will give monthly reports to the Township in available meeting. So, don't know exactly what that means, but I'm giving you all the information that is involved with Gotion. All of it. Looks like that's it for this packet. Let me just close all these. And now we're on to the last of the meeting minutes that we're going to go over today. Looks like page 2. Starting it out. Comments regarding BRTC and Gotion High Tech in Industrial Park. The Township Board recently sent out a resident survey for residents of Big Rapids Charter Township regarding the significant expansion and sale of the Big Rapids Charter Township Industrial Park and related concessions to accommodate the building and operation of Chinese-owned backed, fully or significantly factory to produce battery components for power sources for electrically powered vehicles, EVs, and perhaps other unspecified battery applications. As it is understood, the owners of the company will be purchasing the BRCT Industrial Park and a connected significant expansion of that park into Green Township. The survey form is attached with references to this document to allow for complete answers rather than the short, cryptic ones that are really limited to non-substantive citizen input. It should be noted that in its fall 2022 newsletter, BRCT included 2 articles informing the residents of the project and heartfeltly supported it to us. The first article, essentially promotional in tone, was titled A Dream Coming True, and a second, more factually based but still promotional, a promotional piece, A Dream Continued, was also included. This missive draws from both public and private conversations with other local BRCT residents, as well, of course, my own thoughts. Regarding the first article, I knew Maxine McClelland and previous BRCT supervisor well, and doubt that she would support a project of this scale with the issues it presents. Preliminarily, it is noted that the public releases from the township indicate that the product to be manufactured at the proposed facility are components of ion batteries, such intended for use largely in electric vehicles. My comments will focus on what are assumed to be the greatest volume of products as well as the largest physically, those for use in as batteries designed for the power sources of electric vehicles. Importantly, the relevant inquiries and issues regarding whether battery components or even fully completed ion batteries are safe isn't the focus, but rather whether the materials and manufacturing processes used in making them are safe because the factory in question makes the components apparently from raw materials or possibly in part smaller components made elsewhere. Storage plans for completed units would be a concern as the media has covered serious and hard to put out fires for such batteries stored in volume. To frame the relevant comments, it is felt it necessary to indicate that while I am not an opponent of electric vehicles, actually supporting them conceptually as a future necessity, it is my firm opinion that rushing headlong into mass adoption of still developing technology that is immature at this point in time, committing to large-scale investments of time, capital, human resources, and rare and valuable resources is ill-advised and extremely poor public policy. We must recognize that we currently lack the battery technology to support a safe and reliable mass conversion to EVs. We further lack the infrastructure to cut the cord on fossil fuels, truly the primary source of electricity by far, to charge EVs for the foreseeable future, or to make it widely and conveniently available for users to access it, to support the wide variety and number of commercial and personal vehicles needed to offer any measurable, argued benefits for such a significant move. A full discussion of the science, follow the science, right? Behind those who are pushing with extreme effort to convert totally or even significantly to electric vehicles is beyond the scope of the issues before us, but are not irrelevant. I would be happy to have that chat in an appropriate time and place, but time pressures presented by the issue at hand require a crisp discussion of the immediate issues before us. These points are pressed now to underscore that the factory in question is almost certain to find itself on an unsettled territory, technologically, financially, and politically. Such makes its viability an issue, a key issue to this discussion. Questions 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7, 4, 5, 7, and 8 opposed. See above. As a long-term local resident, I am very concerned about the effect of an overwhelming number of new residents who will be employed at the proposed facility and their families coming to this largely rural, small-town environment, plus the additional population increases needed to provide services to the added workers. It is understood that some of the plant's employees will be hired from the local population. Employees will be moving here and will, of course, be bringing their families too. As the A Dream continued article notes, for every job created in industry, approximately 3 more jobs are created to support these people. The article concludes on this point it will enhance all local businesses. However, it is unlikely that new consumer-oriented businesses will come into service. The increased population, meaning competition for existing local businesses and an exacerbation of the population increase as new businesses will inevitably involve at least a good part of their employee base moving here to work also. That, of course, adds to upward moving population load. We will be looking at a significant increase in the population in this area, however defined. There will be stresses on the school system, public and private, that will be difficult to accommodate and finance without degrading the education offered to the new arrivals and existing students. Utilities will be stressed. The retail sector of the local economy will be pressed to expand to service the largely increased population. The road system will be stressed to the point that repairs and modest upgrades will not be sufficient. The housing sector will be immediately impacted, both as to availability and pricing. As an example, Big Rapids currently has a population of around 8,948. BRCT and Green Charter Township have populations of 3,917 and 3,219 respectively. The total population for those 3 geographically near entities is 16,048. The new arrivals will likely not only live in those governmental units, but for comparative scale, up to 11,000 people may be added to the local population once the plant is up and running. Just counting the plant's employees and their families. Add to that the people moving here to work in new or expanded businesses serving the needs of the new plant employees and their families, and it is clearly seen that the increase will be far beyond the planners seem to have accounted for to date. Regardless of how large one draws the circle for the impacted area regarding population, we're looking at a fundamental change in the nature of the area we love and live in. We are looking at a fundamental change, ladies and gentlemen. The planners acknowledge this in the article A Dream Continued when they write, "This will change our community and a lot of people do not want change. It's not that change isn't wanted, rather it's too much change happening too fast that must be avoided. I have lived in Big Rapids Charter Township for nearly 70 years. The area certainly has changed since the 1950s, but it's been incremental. The change we're looking at here is substantial and relatively quick. The materials circulated in support of the project note that this will be the largest industrial project in northern Michigan to date. I submit there's a reason for that. Those who live here like it here for the lifestyle it provides. It's vibes, to use a modern term. Big Rapids does have good vibes right now. I like the recreational kayaking, fishing, tubing down the river vibe. biking, all that. Growth for the sake of growth on this comparative scale is not the measure of a good public policy. Rather, how such and much growth can be accomplished to favorably impact the area should be. I believe this project will detract from the very thing that brought most of us here and keep us here. We are not discussing just the building of a factory, but being faced with all that such a large operation brings with it, and the changes it causes to the communities and existing residents near it. As discussed in the introductory comments, it is my firmly held belief that the battery component operation will find itself in a challenging business market. If the community scales up to welcome a relatively new population, only to see its employment source not meet expectations and shrink below hopes, or actually crashes, the effects will linger for the remaining locals for a very long time, with much of the local area seeing the decay that comes with an economic collapse. It is noted that the U.S. is already facing challenges to its economy. Frankly, the changes either way will affect the population being asked to live with and adapt to the inevitable changes, will have significant negatives for them to deal with. Larger cities can absorb such significant changes in numbers. Small towns cannot. It is submitted that an operation of this size is simply poorly scaled for an area like ours, being better suited to areas with larger existing populations and the ability to absorb more as well as the risks presented. Up north is and should remain focused on what draws and keeps us here. I am not anti-business. My family moved here in the 1950s to relocate their manufacturing business from suburban Chicago, thankfully, and I grew up with and worked in that factory setting in Rogers Heights, Big Rapids, and BRCT. That business had 100 employees in the factory at the time the business was sold as an ongoing concern. My undergraduate degree from Ferris is in business with a near minor in economics. Business is necessary to all communities. The question is one of scale and relevant intangibles. As for intangibles, we cannot and should not ignore that China is a significant player in the business in question. The Chinese Communist Party, which truly controls China and its interests, I submit, is a significant player in this project. It may try to distance itself from the company and may have minority co-owners involved, but rest assured it is here in this issue. The promotional materials and other sources refer to this operation as being owned by China, so arguments to the contrary can and should be ignored. China often partners with other, even Western interests in its industrial and commercial enterprises, with them holding minority interests. But it most certainly positions itself to control such operations. Communists focus on control, and the CCP is the driving force behind their mindset. China has postured itself as the primary geopolitical adversary to our nation. Why should we cooperate in supporting their economic base and its expansion, especially on our soil? Their risk is only financial, which I believe is their calculation. Ours is the quality of the very lives we live in terms of how and where and what if. I am not anti-Chinese. I admire that nation's history and accomplishments. However, we are not dealing with a romantic version of China history, or what we can hope to be their successful future. We simply must be realists in our dealings with the China of today, the China at our door. If the plant does not prosper, or any of a variety of reasons, China will leave, cutting its losses. It is us who are left with the debris. Either way, we are the ones who must adapt to the ramp-up and the reality of any drawdown that occurs. Regarding the relationship between China and the U.S., very recently, within days of this typing, a 4-star general in the U.S. Air Force is forecasting that we will be in a hot war with China as soon as 2025, and is requiring the forces under his command to prepare themselves and their affairs accordingly. At least one member of Congress has publicly concurred in that assessment, with more anticipated to chime in. Briefly, the environment giving rise to these predictions are our 2024 election, China's views on the existing U.S. leadership, and the issues regarding Taiwan on which we and they disagree. If it does come down to war, and we all should pray it does not, how does that bode for the business we are discussing? Such is and should be a cloud over the long-term viability of the business in question, even its initial advisability. This is a poor time to seriously consider a proposal already burdened with numerous problematic considerations. Question 6. Batteries are largely made of rare earth minerals. Mining them is considered sufficiently dangerous to the environment that such operations are primarily overseas, including China. Most of us have heard or read accounts describing such mining operations as involving slave and child labor, including both in China. That presents us with a severe moral dilemma. The substances used in the manufacturing processes of this plant are hazardous to humans, requiring strict and reliable environmental protections, areas China and Chinese business interests often have not proven adept in. A defect reflecting their priorities and business calculations. I'm going to take a pause really quick and say our government, same thing. I mean, look at Ohio. The risk of even small quantities leaking into our soils and water supply must be considered. The risk of ask people from Flint about water contamination. Michigan is a water-rich state, and virtually all our water sources, surface and subsurface, are interconnected. Toxic contamination is enough of a risk that there must be strong reasons for us to accept them. It is submitted that such are not seen or exist here. A more complicated issue is the amount of minerals needed to make such batteries. The impressive numbers have appeared in releases regarding this project. These raw materials are defined as rare in their very name, rare earth. It has been submitted that the technology and manufacturing processes for making especially EV batteries need substantial maturation. Further, existing battery technology has not yet produced batteries that are not prone to spontaneously explode, and do not yet carry sufficient capacity of charge to meet demands for common transportation. The switch to EVs, as pressed by advocates for such, is the complete replacement of internal combustion engines, in what all seem to acknowledge is a compressed time frame. The discussions cover not only personal transportation vehicles, but commercial rigs such as semis and other trucks, railroad trains, cargo transport ships, airplanes, etc. Not only is battery technology a huge obstacle to such objectives, but the variability also to generate sufficient amounts of electricity to charge batteries with current technologies is far beyond our present reach, even with additional means of generating electricity, let alone the popular green alternatives touted loudly from these days, wind and solar. It seems that those pressing hard on this move to EVs are primarily from urban populations where people are densely packed and public transportation far more available. I submit that such populations have a hard time understanding the needs of our populations outside the areas they live in. I don't know who wrote this. Who wrote this? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. Whoever wrote this, you did a very good job. Thank you. Question 7. I honestly have a hard time identifying a sufficient upside to warrant the negatives. I defer to others to make the case for us to welcome the risks believe inherent in the proposal before us. 2. Big Rapids Township Board Members re Gotion. I'm writing to express my thoughts on the possible approval of the Gotion Battery Component Manufacturing Plant that will be in Mecosta County. Having recently purchased 18 acres of property in Big Rapids Township and being a resident of this township, I have serious concerns on this particular plant, both purchasing property and operating their battery factory. Regardless of the insistence that Gotion is not a Chinese-owned company, it is a Chinese-owned company. Yes, it is internationally traded, but that does not change the fact. At a recent meeting held to answer questions from residents, I noticed many people who expressed their concerns about the fact the plant is Chinese-owned. There was a general ha-ha from a certain township official, and Mr. Thelen, as though those poor souls were just naive about the big world. Please start educating yourself on what the Chinese are doing worldwide. If it's Chinese, the CCP has a hand in it. Taking a quick time out, I've already shown you that the CCP definitely has a hand. The Gotion's founder, this guy, Li Hen, is a member of CCP and formerly served at the Provincial Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. Sorry, they don't have conservatives or Republicans or Democrats or liberals. They're all part of the Communist Chinese Party. The Big Rapids Township there was another one, and is it this? Right here. So, Gotion, Michigan's plant plays in a part of China's one bribe, one loan, one belt, one road ambitions. And obviously I can't read this, but this person can. And so there is a level of trust there, but I find it very, very interesting that this individual has put it together that one bribe, one loan, one belt, one road is linked with Big Rapids Township Board. That's concerning. That's concerning. Going back to this individual's concerns that wrote this to the township. Regardless, Mr. Thelen, I gotta reread this. There was a general ha-ha from a certain township official. I'm going to make a guess that it was Bill Stanek, who's heavily involved with the big dogs, and Mr. Thelen, as though those poor souls were just naive about the big world. Please start educating yourself on what the Chinese are doing worldwide. At the same meeting, a young lady gave a passionate speech about our children having the opportunity to stay in this community with a good-paying job. I don't know about you, but my goal for any child reaches significantly higher than a battery factory worker. Seriously, what kind of goal is that? Watching all this green movement and studying it from many angles, I cannot find how this technology will benefit the world in the long run. You have very dangerous materials, you have horribly underpaid people in foreign countries, and you have a technology that will be obsolete in just a few short years. And we will be stuck with a massive plant that will be a brownfield. Please look beyond the immediate future and consider this project in the long run. Not all decisions should be based entirely on the economic value you perceive. We have a beautiful, natural, clean environment here. Capitalize on that, please. Thank you for your time and consideration. Beth. Thank you, Beth. I appreciate your letter. I wish I knew who this other person was. I appreciate your input as well. Very well said. Thank you. Let's see. We are getting down to the wire. I know this video is long, but I wanted you to have all the information. I've been going through this again the last 2 days to try to get just what's related to Gotion. Out of sometime 80 pages, I've read it all. Let's see. Page 43. Page 7. Okay. January 3rd. Public comment. Kelly, update from Public comment. Kelly, update from MCDC. Gotion was pursuing in a different state and wanted that done first. Want to make sure this project is going forward since it will take longer. Goal is to have something going in spring, in March or April, bump up, breaking ground. Curry, anticipating sale of properties in February. Kelly, if EGLE says it can happen, yes, but wetland issues has Gotion 3 months behind. Thankfully. The wetland issues, because there's protected wetland in this area that we are trying to sell to China. And so, thankfully, that government bureaucracy is actually giving us some more time so the locals can scramble to set up a defense and hopefully decline this proposal. Kelly, the timeline that was shared. Curry, that will be pushing it because of zero communication from a lawyer regarding the development agreement. Kelly, the timeline that was shared could go off of that, but things are shifting. We know what order, but deadlines have all shifted as of 1/3/23. If EGLE says we can't mitigate wetlands, Gotion will walk away. Tests done with MEDC and engineers, wetland study on industrial park done in depth, 2 studies working on, she believes. Bean, timeline with various milestones on it. Who's handling which milestones? Responsible party. Please add to timeline and update. Kelly will update and send tomorrow. Again, this is January 3rd. So September, October, November, December, 4 months. And and we still don't have all our questions answered, and they're trying to push it through. Being access to information that we put on the website, consider a mailer to citizens in a survey. David Kerwin to find someone to do appraisal of industrial park. A motion was made to hire an appraiser for the industrial park. A motion was made to form an ad hoc committee for the industrial park and schedule ASAP. Yeah, again, we're scrambling. We're scrambling to do the right thing. And there's other people that are trying to push this through really fast. Page 9. All right, this meeting was January 12th, 6 p.m. Public comment, agenda, additions to agenda, discuss facts posted to the website and the misinformation given at the state of the township and 9 and 10 news. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss concerns amongst board members and attorney updates called by Bean and Curry. Bean, we should create factual information on our page, not mislead the public. We don't want to betray the trust of the township. H, comments, accusations as a board on meetings we aren't invited to from Tracy. Accused of missing a Zoom call on 3rd with EGLE that not one of us were invited to or CC'd on any email. Please clarify, Bill. States he did have a meeting and that Kelly came and reported on the meeting. So, I don't know if you could see, I'm sure you can, what the hell is going on? Why are they having meetings and the board isn't knowledgeable about these meetings? Why are they having secret meetings that aren't secret? Told you about it, but you didn't. H reads Carmen's comment. Whether Gotion is or is not a Chinese company should not influence one's decision on supporting or opposing this project. What should be considered is if it is a good fit for the community. The Chinese connection reference in the BRCT survey was considered carefully. To omit the reference would have been misleading. Further, the Chinese people are very proud of their culture and its technological accomplishments. To exclude their role in this endeavor has the potential to offend them. At this point, in this most fragile process, the controversy, disrespect, and divisiveness displayed in the recent posts may lead Gotion to decide that our community is not a good fit for them. Please could everyone at least pretend that we are civil. Let us all think before we post. I don't know what he's referencing here. I commend Bean for saying this and couldn't have said it better myself. That same night, we discover that Bill has made a statement to 9 and 10 saying it's not a Chinese company. Stanek, that's not what I said. I think it's size? I'm sorry. That's exactly what you said. Curry, there are 2 main concerns of our residents, the company's origin and the environment. If we cannot get the first one right, how are we supposed to get the second one right? Bean, not one board member has gone on record whether they are in favor or opposed to this. So there's an awful lot of innuendo from Paul Griffith, Jim Chapman, Bill Stanek, and from others. People who have no idea because they don't have information. Just 5 short weeks ago did we get the info that Green Township has had for months. You told us you had to sign a confidentiality agreement, and there was none. Stanek, whatever you say. Curry, we want you to recant your statement with 9 and 10 on film. Bean, our job is to represent our constituents. You are not doing that. Stanek, I apologize if that's how you feel. I will talk to our attorney about that. Bean, I will move that we appoint an individual to recant and revoke policy that Bill is spokesperson, even if it's a one-time temporary motion. Curry, I don't understand why you don't think it's misleading, Bill. Stanek, I don't think it is. Sighs, and you have a room full of people laughing. Stanek, they're welcome to. I don't care. Bean, we know you don't, and that's the problem. Sighs, reads letter, including numerous disrespectful comments made by Stanek regarding board to numerous people. Continues with ethics policy and broken ethics policies by Stanek in question. Disclosure of conflict of interest, not informing board of treasurer position with MCDC or signing a confidentiality agreement with them with knowledge of the project far before informing the board. Truthfulness, information acquired, community decisions, community role models, transparency, representation of township interests. Curry, stop right there. Township's best interests, not the county's, not MCDC. The township. In addition, the code of ethics that you refused to sign because of religious beliefs. As an elected official, you must be open and honest with your board, and you have failed to do that numerous times. Bean, your comment to us is always recall me. I would like to request your resignation. Stanek, according to our attorney, you have to request it. You can request it, but I will deny it. Sighs, as many times as you've asked us to recall you and then you won't. You don't feel you're doing anything wrong? You've done anything wrong? Stanek, I do not. Shriver, I'd like an explanation of why you can't sign the ethics policy due to your religious beliefs. Stanek, I will not share that in public. Lenny, Bill, I think you should be ashamed of yourself. I have heard you say that this is not a Chinese company. You are a typical politician, and you don't ever have to be held accountable for your actions. Chuck, just an outsider looking in. I've heard several things, varying degrees of Chinese ownership. I've been asking questions. I was also told by Tracy Ruel, talk to Jim Chapman. He has the documentation. I talked to him and he said, I don't have anything. It's just what I heard. You're just taking someone's word for it. That's the problem. One thing I've heard, and maybe this will help, if someone were to ask on the frequently asked questions sheet, it says, Gotion is not owned by the Chinese government, and that is a huge tap dance around everything, because if I wouldn't say that, McDonald's is not owned by the American government. Bean, it is a spin. Initial questions were not questions the public was asking. Answers go in circles. Shriver, someone from the right place, comments about not getting the right answers, stating the difference in culture. First red flag I saw. Lenny, signs all over asking for people to work, and how will we find the people? Surveys don't mean anything. BRT female resident, how do you feel about them tapping into our resources? Bean, our resources are ours. Used would be water and electricity, not mining here, as we don't have the mineral to mine. Only resources of ours would be water and electricity. That's huge. Residents, are they going to be refurbishing batteries here? Lenny, one time they saw building batteries, and one time they say building batteries, and one time they say components. Curry explains the process of how they are built after a discussion with a battery director. See conversation below. Resident, they're calling for a huge amount of refurbished batteries because this is such a new concept and the scientists are not sure how to dispose of the waste safely. Curry, waste explained, capture what they can as we are told. Paul, speaking to Curry, I meant no disrespect when quoted 5 times multiplier. Only unsure who you got it from because I saw 2337 according to 3 studies from professionals, but point is never heard of any type of multiplier like that. Curry, a battery plant director, he knows what he's talking about because he's seen the influx firsthand. Resident, where are they getting the water? Being that would be negotiated. A couple wells on our property that has a few customers. Resident, I had a customer move out of Big Rapids because of no housing for middle income, and they were told by the city that they didn't have enough water when the college kids are in session. Is that going to affect our water table? Size, Chuck Thelen, Gotion VP, committed to having a water study done at Ren Zone meeting, but we've heard nothing on that yet. And this is January, guys. They want to have this complete by the end of March. And we still don't know what's going on. This is corruption in our local government. This is very concerning. Kate, why are questions asked of only the people going to benefit, and why not asking people who could announce the cons of the project? It's the right place, Gotion, Ferris, no environmentalists, wondering if we are only getting pros, but interested to see vast cons of the project. Size, I've reached out to numerous EGLE reps, no response, in addition to the recent meeting that we were not included in recently with EGLE. Stanek, Kelly informed the board of wetland study. Kate, could I request that someone come to a meeting with the cons? All, yes, Kate said requested. Size, Bill, could you share what you learned in the meeting with EGLE? Stanek, a lot of acreage they want to use and some are wetlands. Curry, if they want to use wetlands, they have to transfer the wetlands. If they're going to build on the wetlands, they must replace them. If they can recreate them within a certain mile radius, then they can. Had to submit other plans to EGLE. This is an example of information we would like to know about. I personally was invited to this meeting last Friday, and that's the only reason I know what I'm telling you now. Resident, what is the deadline of the project? Curry, we've heard March 31st. Break ground by March, 1st of April, possibly February. Answer always changes, so unsure. Bean, would like their proposed timeline online and public. Resident, do I have the right to ask what the board thinks about this company? Stanek, you can ask opinions. Curry, I think I will speak for everyone when I say we don't have enough information to make a decision. Joe, comment on Walmart Meyer and wetlands. Curry, addressing Township board concerns. Asks if there is a contingency plan with Green Township if Big Rapids Township were to vote no. Stanek, that's up to Green Township. I've heard this is a contingency plan. Chapman, as much animosity as there is, I'm not interested. Sure, Bill, for you, be happy to. There has been serious concerns on how this board is going to go and what it's going to do, and in order to save this opportunity for the community, we have been trying to develop a plan B. No formal plan, but discussions on whether or not it could be handled depends on wetlands. So this Chapman guy, real quick, what he's saying is he's trying to get this project on all Green Township land because Big Rapids Township doesn't seem to be cooperating. We have too many questions, too many concerns. So they're still going to try to put the plant there, but just get it out of the Big Rapids, 100 acres out of the Big Rapids, and put that 100 acres in Green Township. And the fact that Green Township has known about it for longer than other people is concerning. This is all concerning. It's all shady. Why? Joe, isn't Green Township's land all private property? Does Green Township have anything to do with that? Chapman, public act stuff, but sale of property is private. I don't know what that means. Everett, I'd like to address the lack of relationship between townships. We have something in common. I don't understand why you and Bill aren't working to bring the boards together to share ideas and concerns. Okay, so Chapman must be the supervisor of Green Township. That makes sense. Chapman, it's very simple. I've tried multiple times to satisfy info on one-on-one basis, trying to get us to come to meetings. Board members shoving finger in face saying you're wrong. Everett, this board would welcome you to come to our meetings. I've been to several of yours now, and you let me speak, and I appreciate that. Bill, I'd like to speak to that. I think we really need to start working together. Size, well, that would start at the misinformation ending. Shriver, well, stating, trying to save this opportunity feels like you've already decided. Chapman, believe it's a generational opportunity if we can sit civilly because it is the best interest of my residents. Development plan needs to be worked out. Is it the best for your residents? I'm going to look into this Chapman and see. I'm sure, you know what, really quick. Is Green Township on here? County. I'm gonna do more research on that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go back. Resident, I seem to think there's a lot of unanswered questions. Oh, sorry. Yes. Resident, I seem to think there are lots of unanswered questions. Is there any way to document those and try to have answers? Stanek, project is so fluid, haven't gotten design together, lots can't be answered right now. Resident, as a leader of the community, you are all supposed to know. 2 to 3 years employing 50 to 100 people. It will be very automated. No definite thing to say we want this for the jobs. Any way possible to speak to someone who knows what's going on and get information for us. Chapman, clawbacks, no money until break ground. Certain requirements must meet or have to give money back. Hook to keep them honest and ensure goals are met. Bean, amount of incentives with details on website. Resident, what all questions have been asked. Size, I've compiled a list with all meetings and the right place answered what they could. Chuck Thelen told us a minimum of 300 jobs and also bringing foreign people to get the plant up and running. Resident, where will they house them? Size, that's another question we've asked about Ferris housing rumor. Resident, are my taxes going to go up because of this? Who's going to pay for the roads to repair them for the traffic, the infrastructure, etc.? Bean, $50 million infrastructure grant. J, couldn't say how it would be distributed yet. Stanek, property taxes could go up if property value goes up. Being double-edged sword, wonderful if you're selling, not so good for the next generation buying. My home might increase in value. Great. Everett, when the government spends tax dollars, where do you think we get those tax dollars? No single politician saying, let me contribute. Chapman, if we drop this project, will taxes go down? No, we just got the opportunity for it to come here. I don't know what that means. Paul, I live in Chippewa Township and I'm the county administrator. I have no anticipation of taxes going up unless property taxes go up. State tax dollars going into it, no control over that. Everett, yes, you do, by who you elect. Paul, any bond in indebtedness will still be paid, possibly over 50%. Could be paid off quicker, which could result in reduction of taxes. Bean, or another bond. Audience concludes, yes, another bond. Paul, but those are voted on. The MEDC analysis they project would have a 3.13 multiplier. Every job will create 2.13 other jobs within the community, right from MEDC application. Bottom line, tax dollars spent? Absolutely. Local tax dollars? No. To Mr. Stanek, to say it's not a Chinese company, I will not take that position. I will take the position that it is a multinational corporation that is headquartered in China. Which, if that makes Ford a U.S. company, this would be a Chinese company. But I would argue that it is not a Chinese government-owned company. Curry, no one is saying that, so why not simply say it's a Chinese company with multi-directional directors, multinational directors? Why cover it up? Paul, I'm fine with taking that tact. Curry, there lies our problem. Being told multiple different things led to do our own research, which has led to pros and cons. When MEDC wrote a letter to the strategic fund, there were other things not accurate. Not saying if the multiplier is accurate or not, but it has led us to look elsewhere for information. Size. Additionally, at the Ren Zone meeting, Chuck had said there was a phase 3 that we weren't aware of, and that's why we may have different information on a multiplier estimate. Paul, he did allude to the fact that there was a phase 3. Phase 1 is 150,000 tons of raw materials. Big roll of film coated with some stuff. 10 acres of buildings. Phase 2, 40 acres under roof. But when we talk about jobs, 500 first year, by year 3 about 700, year 5 additional 800, ramping it up. If this happens, and they don't fulfill clawback provisions, if this happens and they do a 10-year build-out, the last group of people that they hire are in the 7th grade right now. Generational project. Time to ramp up. Chuck explained in study they went 45 minutes for job fulfillment. It's their problem if they can't fulfill jobs, not ours. I understand we're getting a lot of pressure from many different directions. All I would ask that you do is just do what you're doing to get the facts you can gather. There are things we don't know and cannot provide. Fed state government has regulatory agencies that are a pain in the neck for manufacturers, and they will watch out for us. Paul, was there a second plan at the Ren Zone meeting? Yes, I drafted a resolution for my board that if Big Rapids Township didn't want to participate and Green did, my board would have considered that. That wasn't necessary because you did want to participate. Take note of Tony's comment coming up shortly after this. Joe, Paul, are you representing the county? Paul, I'm me, Paul. Baquez. Will you keep saying you're the county administrator? Oh, well, you keep saying you're the county administrator. Size, do you believe that any standing board members of the MCDC should have abstained from voting on the Ren Zone and should have abstained from voting on the sale of land? Paul, no, because MCDC doesn't have any economic interest in this. What do you mean? Curry, you mean financially? Baquez, your director works for the right place. Paul, she works for us. They're talking about Kelly. Kelly Wawazek or whatever. She works for us. No, she works for the right place. Paul, we contacted the right place for her services. There you go. Paul, there was a backup resolution. I drafted it. Just wanted you to know. Bean, we know that. So we contract the right place for her services. So the local government contacted the right place for help. The right place is owned by CEO Randy Thelen. VP, Gotion VP, is Chuck Thelen. Now, again, I haven't been able to find documentation yet that they are related, but it's a huge coincidence to me that they both have the same last name, and one is working for Gotion and one is supposedly working for us, although the right place is a nonprofit organization working for the state of Michigan and Governor Whitmer. But I digress. So, going back to this, Paul, there was a backup resolution. I drafted it, just wanted you to know. Bean, we know that. Size, we just want to know now if there's a contingent plan for the company to do entirely in Green Township if Big Rapids Township has to vote no. Paul, not to my knowledge. My fondest hope is that we can still do this together. Don't hear anyone up here saying they are a hard no, so I'm still hoping. Bean, a lot of people think we are. It comes from up north. Routley, to Paul, you seem to be quite jumpy after 5 times multiplier. As the administrator, is there a number that you think would be too big for us? Paul, no. Routley, could we withstand 1 million people? That to me seems like too many. So you can't come up with just a number off the top of your head. Paul, because it will be organic growth. The minute this broke, the city started getting inquiries for hotels. People see opportunity. Look to south, some places with no large city, but still 60 to 70,000 people. Could we handle that? Yeah, sure. Schools would love it. Tons of positive economic things that could happen. My kids graduated from Everett. I have watched Everett rise and fall. Mostly fall, with places closing in recent years. Handled influx without problem. Struggles were with people leaving. Handled expansions very well. I have faith and resiliency of our community. Almost done here. Size, Chapman claimed in one of his comments that the county thinks our board is foolish for questioning any of this. So I would like to clarify that comment. He wonders where the animosity comes from, but he continuously disrespects us on a public platform. Paul, well, first of all, if you look at my Facebook, you'll find nothing. But if you say something to my face, I care about that because let's talk. Let's have a discourse. Bean, Paul, I appreciate your input this evening. Lenny, there's an expression, the fish, she rots from the hat. You are the fish. Bill, we would not have this tonight if you would have been 100% open with your board. I believe you already closed. Let's be more deliberate than the city was, and a lot of what I hear on this is financial incentives. Everett, before we close the meeting, I'd like to understand what we've accomplished. Bill, what can I expect you to do? What do you expect us to do? Stanek, one thing I'd like you to do is work with Green Township. Joe, I suggest Bill and Jim don't meet one-on-one. Have additional board members. You'd be surprised how smooth things go when you weren't counting on one person's commentary. Stanek, I'd love to have both boards. So, real quick, it sounds like the two supervisors for the townships have gotten together and had one-on-one meetings without the rest of the board knowing. And that's a problem. We should have complete transparency for something so crucial for the area. Size. Last bit of info to update boards. Update from attorney on possibly appraisers for property. Additionally, I motion to make a meeting with our attorney to discuss our term sheet and the legal option that was given to us tonight. Support by Bean. Routley, I think the joint meeting should wait upon survey results. Resident. Can you all get on the same page and support each other? You have no idea how much control you have over what the rest of the lives will be like for our children here. Stop thinking about yourselves and think about our children. Do the right thing. Tony, it was brought up tonight, the very fact that it was said that several other community leaders were concerned about this board and what it would do, with something we weren't even informed of ahead of time. Why would they think that before they even informed us? I know Penny likes to say that I don't say a lot, but that speaks volumes, Bill, and that's all I'm going to say. So obviously, Bill has been talking to MEDC and all of the lettered agencies that are involved with this project in Michigan and has not notified the board and has been talking shit about the board. That's what it sounds like. Bean, they came with a contingency plan to the Renaissance Zone meeting and we hadn't even known about it for a week. They came with an application in their hands. Jay Baquez, well, Bill knew about it for 1.5 years before that. Now you know why I suggested having more board involvement in conversations. Gabe, we made a motion and voted on that as well, and it still hasn't happened. Chuck, point of clarity, discussion about Bill recanting what he said to the news, discussion about having someone else do that. Can I get clarity on where we are on that? Curry, Carmen's motion still stands and I support it. Carmen moved to appoint an individual to recant the statement if Bill was not willing to do so. I told you I need to talk to the attorney first, says Stanek. Bean, you didn't before you said it. Stanek, all in favor of the motion say aye. All say aye. Stanek, abstain. Everett, I don't think you can. Stanek, I'll vote no. Curry, I make a motion to appoint Carmen. Size supports. Motion passed unanimously. 7:49, and this started at 6 o'clock. So almost 2 hours this meeting went on. That right there was a bombshell. That gave me and you, gave us a lot of information about the mass confusion, the lack of transparency, the talking of the supervisors of the two township boards without the whole board. A lot of fishy stuff going on. All right, item C. We have a few more pages. We have item C here, previously provided a draft. This was January 24th. Was provided to Green as well. Okay, Mark Nettleton, Township Attorney, Micah Myers. Previously provided draft of term sheet early December. Draft was provided to Green as well. Mark shared with Randy Thelen at the right place. Received comments back from Jim Chapman and Randy. Nothing has been updated on the term sheet since then. Size, can you share their comments? Summarize as best can recall. Nettleton, intent would be that we would have a term sheet to come to an agreement with the parties. Comments about adding in clawback provisions if Gotion failed to meet some job requirements, investment requirements. Concept on tax appeals on evaluation of the property. Want to consider that. Randy, whether or not the right place would be separate from the term sheet directly to Gotion, the right place. At last meeting, BRT board was made aware of a backup resolution. Confirmation from Paul Bollock let us know that we were backup resolution at Renaissance Zone meeting. Additional questions going into Green Township if BR voted no. Nettleton, aware of them having that option, has an understanding that the state incentive funds are going to flow through the right place, although hasn't seen documents yet. Yeah, the money's going through the right place. Routley, intending to use money from state to purchase land, must use the right place to purchase land? Gibbs, pros and cons to the right place in that situation, expanding on Nick's questions, going through the right place to them, pro or con. Nettleton, contractual obligation with the developer that it's developed with what the township wants needs. Seems to me that it's easier and a more linear way of thinking if it's one document with all necessary parties. Everett, concerned that the right place does something that the township doesn't agree with. I hope you don't mind the reference here. Wouldn't this be like hiring an attorney and not having a say in what they finally choose? Appears as though the right place is more of an agent for Gotion. Mark, they, the right place, view themselves as an economic agent for the township, county, and state. Mark, to get information from everyone regarding questions asked and a bullet point list formulated. Gabe, get engineer involved. Routley, them stating EPA will handle that doesn't mean anything. Process about how they go about it. Sewer feasibility study. Curry, MP oxidizer, will catch some of the waste of the chemicals, and the rest will be oxidized into the air with a high level of ability to catch it, around 98%, and the remainder will have to be contained in barrels and trucked to a recycling center. A lot of supply chain problems could occur, and we'd have a chemical disaster right here in Big Rapids, Michigan. Do we want that? Bill, entertain motion to move forward with term sheet modification. Nettleton, clarity. Comments from today's meetings and incorporate the input from Randy Jim in addition to minutes from closed session. Curry, motion to incorporate what we've already discussed in a printable form from updates per our closed session and noting differences, size reports. Motion passed unanimously. Mark, my concept is one agreement. Green doesn't have EDA grant on their property. Size, in purpose of transparency, would you tell us if there is a plan to go into green entirely? Nettleton, depends how I come about the information. Routley, determine lists and get questions to correct places. Gabe, motion to get Progressive involved in Gotion project and provide them with a list of questions, concerns for them to start working on and provide answers, direction. So, as you can see, still scrambling. Public comment, Patty Downey brief thing, talk, 1 or 2 agreements, question what he could share as a comparison. I know this project is way different than a divorce, but you don't understand husbands and wives say we use the same attorney. So Patty is worried about using the same attorney between Green Township and Big Rapids Township. So, a lot of information. This video was really long. The next meeting is March 7th in Big Rapids Township. I will have the information down below for everything that I've shared with you today. I will continue discussing this topic and try to keep everyone up to date. This is, again, extremely important for this area. Anybody in Newaygo County, Mecosta County, and Muskegon County should know about this because of the potential water pollution. But Mecosta County and Newaygo County need to know about it because of the influx of people as well. It's going to change the entire area. So please look into this yourselves. Subscribe to this video. If you liked this content, please like the video. Go to the meeting if you're in the local area, even if you're within an hour. Try to get to that meeting on March 7th, 7 p.m. And I hope to see you there. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. And again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.